In war and darkness we ignite the spark. Flames of fury like the callous heart. Steel meets leather, flesh on fire. Adrenaline rush, burning higher and higher. WrestleManiacs attack, no turning back. WrestleManiacs attack under the blood moon. Broken bones, wounds that never heal. Minds on the edge, feel the raw deal. Chaos in the ring, sweat dripping rain. Tear down the walls, feel the unchained pain. WrestleManiacs attack, no turning back. WrestleManiacs attack under the blood moon. WrestleManiacs attack, no turning back. WrestleManiacs attack under the blood moon.
What is going on, boys? Big thanks to David Coverdale for that intro song. It never gets old. But,
it's killer.
and kind of a mashup of Tears for Fears, Wrestling, WrestleManiacs, Ranking WrestleMania Special. How you boys doing tonight?
I'm
Good,
feeling
man.
personally.
You know,
I'm doing
Doing-
good, too.
doing rad, dude.
This
my
week is
tooth's
about
killing
over
me.
with. Thank God.
Tooth hurts?
Yeah, I gotta go to the dentist at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Buddy,
Are you
you're
going to
in East-
see
you're in
Dr.
Eastern-
Isaac Yankum?
You're in Eastern Kentucky. Just all you need is some liquor and some pliers. You
Nah,
don't
I'm
need a
good.
dentist. What are you talking about?
You're going to see Yankum. And when he used to take the thing and he was like,
Yeah, it's Jerry Lawler's dentist.
Yeah,
He made sure to show his poop mouth off real good.
yeah, you're going to see Yankum tomorrow. Say that when you go in. Say, I'm here to see Isaac Yankum. DDS.
Hell yeah, I should.
From Decatur, Alabama,
what he
or wherever
says.
the hell he was from.
I was referred by Jerry the King Lawler.
But yeah, guys, hey, this was a special request. It was actually Carter Detention's last baller and shot caller request. He is retired as a baller and shot caller. But man, what a way to go out, because WrestleMania is coming up here in a little bit less than 2 weeks. Almost a week away, actually.
Yeah.
And it's perfect timing. I think all of us are lifelong horror and wrestling fans. So,
Sorry, these comments.
these comments are rolling in.
Garrett,
Tap dancing daddy up in here. What is up? What is up? What is going on in the chat?
just some people want to let Garrett know that there's some stuff available at Airport 444.
I don't even know. I don't even know what that joke is. I don't really get it.
I don't either, but it's funny for some reason.
Well, you really have to know the amazingness that is Scissor Penis.
Yeah, I don't know
how
anything
awful
about
that movie is.
it. Oh, it's a movie.
I actually think that
Never heard of such a thing.
yeah, it's a really horrible movie. I actually think that this will probably be like one of my favorite shows because we've never really done anything like this. And like the first 20 years of WrestleMania are amazing to me. I mean, like in terms of nostalgia.
Yeah.
I don't know necessarily in terms of matches, but like in terms of like growing up and watching a lot of this shit. So I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. It's gonna be cool to go down memory lane. Not only that, but it's also gonna be cool for us to kind of talk about, you know, the nostalgia is so big with these. I'm just curious to see, like, you know, everybody's gonna probably have some different favorites because I think it really depends on the time and place that you were when you saw these things for the first time. And there's some in here that I'm like, it's one of my absolute favorites. You guys are gonna probably disagree with some of my picks, but I think it was just right place, right time as a kid. And you know, going back and talking about these guys, I hope you've got some caffeine because we're going to be here until about 2 a.m. But You know, it's going to be cool to kind
No,
of
we're-
chat it up with you guys and kind of find
think-
out where your heads
well,
were on a lot of this
They'll
stuff.
get through these pretty quick.
I think that we can. I think we can do it pretty
Yeah.
quick because we know a lot of them like pretty well. So it's not like
Yeah, like the first half of them, like we're going through a total of 40 different pay-per-view events. So, but the first half we're all pretty familiar with, but our Wikipedia is going to help us with the other half. As far as just reviving what the hell happened, I've seen all of them, but you know, after a point they just get a little bit blurry, like Puddle of Mud said back in the day.
Yeah, once they started adding a lot of those other pay-per-views too, like Vengeance, Bad Blood, all that, that's where like my brain like can't process a lot of this stuff anymore. Up until that, like even like during the In Your House era, like I'm pretty good for a little bit. And then they started doing like all the different Beware of Dog and DX and all that. And then I start getting a little crazy. Like,
well,
I love those. I love them, but I start like forgetting like which one is which, you know?
Right.
I think the only time it really gets bad for me is when they start the 2-night of WrestleMania, like the 8-hour WrestleManias and shit. Like that's when I absolutely like don't know a lot of those matches.
Now they're
like,
two nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because the roster nowadays is so oversaturated with people, and they just kind of have to like, well, let's want to make our roster happy, so we got to make this 2 nights so we can have as many people on there as we can. So I don't know, man. I don't really mind it, honestly.
Yeah, someone asked that in the chat what we think about that. Honestly, I would rather do the double nights than those ones where like it would start at 4 and end at midnight. Like those for a while, like over the last like 10 years, that got tough sometimes because it's like you have to start it so early and it goes so long. But they're breaking it up into 2 nights and you're making it just like a big festive weekend. I personally like that better.
There was one, Garrett, I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the later ones that started at like midnight. Like
I think it's the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame starts at this year. The Hall of Fame starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kidding you.
Well, our time it does, but where they're over in Vegas, it's gonna be like 10 o'clock at night.
What I would do,
Yeah,
with
Eastern
the Hall of Fame is like one of the best things. Like I love that, especially if they go back to the old style. I think they need to put the Hall of Fame on some other event because they don't have time for all this stuff. Right? If they're going to have it that late on a Friday after SmackDown, to me they've got to move it some like Survivor Series or Royal Rumble or something like that.
Yeah. Before we start, I have a question for you guys because we don't do this enough. And, do you guys, and it could have to do with your ages and stuff. We're all pretty much around the same age, but do you
I
have
think
a
Crater
preference
is younger
of like,
than Crater.
oh,
how
yeah.
old
So
are
this
you?
will be interesting. Do
I'm
you have
curious.
Go ahead.
a specific like years in wrestling that you prefer?
Mhm.
Because everybody always talks about Attitude Era as the best. And to me, I was watching it nonstop. I was having a ball as a teenager with it. But if I had to go back, rewatch value for me is like 88, 87, 88 to like 93 era for me. Those are like that's like my like main love for wrestling. I can go back and watch all those events like anytime and still have a ball with it. I didn't know if you guys had a similar feel or if you had something different.
I used to think the Attitude Era was the best because that was really the era that like was huge when we were, in high school and things like that. But like going back and watching those now, I don't think that's the case. Like they had some great moments, but overall that era was full of horrible storylines and like trash and just a bunch of bullshit that was like just
That's
Vince
good
Russo related shit that went on in that era. So yeah, I kind of agree with you, Garrett. Like, I mean, nostalgia wise for me at this point would probably be that same era. And especially like, I mean, I know we're talking about WWE, but WCW around that same era too was pretty amazing.
I totally would agree.
Well, I think it just depends on like your age and stuff. Like, because like you guys said, you're a little bit older than me. I was born in '86. I guess you guys were born around like what 80,
74.
Early 80s. I was born in early 80s. I'll say that.
Yeah,
But,
me too. That's what
I
said.
got into wrestling like kind of where I would watch it consistently, probably around like 1990, I think, 90 or 91. I was really young. I was maybe like 5 years old or something when I got into it. But like when I really like it started like really grabbing my attention was around like 96 when the whole NWO stuff started in WCW, and that's kind of where they were close to leading into the Attitude Era. So those years between 96 and like 2000, 2001, those are always super special to me.
I mean, for me, it's the era when I first started watching. So, and we're going to be talking about this era here too, like 84, 85, 86. When Saturday night's main event started, that was the first big show that I knew that I could get for free. And, that we didn't have pay-per-view then or whatever. And it was scheduled. Otherwise, most of these other shows were syndicated. I didn't know when the hell they were on when I was a kid. So that a lot of those events, like the early Saturday night's main event shows from like the 85, 86, 87, 88. And then the WWF up until really like 97. Like I thought 97 was a damn good year too. But
97, you're right, was a great year. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, sort of after
For
that,
both.
it started getting way more out there and mainstream, and they had a lot of stupid shit on it. But there's some solid, I mean, I think all those years there's some solid stuff. I mean, we're going to go through their top tier pay-per-view from 85 on to present day. So we'll get to kind of reminisce, talk about some of these matches. We're going to try to go through them rather quickly because it is 40. There's 40 of them. So we're going to see if we can do this in around 2 hours. But we do have a plethora of people already in here in the chat. I'm going to do some shout outs. And, I'm ready. Uncle Bill, did you say your date real quick here around that time? Would you agree with me on
My
the dates?
date?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You're
Like
the era of wrestling.
the
that you-
era.
The dates.
What? The dates
No,
that
no.
The time
you enjoyed.
period that you enjoyed the most.
so it's weird because there's like two time periods, right? So there's the super nostalgic time period when I was growing up as a kid, which would have been around the Warrior, title run and all that. And then there's like the Attitude Era, which was high school where it caught on again. And so like those two time periods are to me like the best time periods in terms of when I was really into it and when it was really like moving at a pretty great rate for all those companies. After you get past when WCW dies out and everything, to me, there's a whole period there where I just think it was less than because they didn't fucking care as much. They didn't have any competition. They just put on bullshit and did whatever.
Yeah, both WCW and ECW were gone, so they didn't. There weren't really any other options until like 2002 when TNA started.
All right, but in the chat, we're going to do some shout outs. We got Black Peter, the Tap Dancing Daddy, Greg Brewer, Clifton, Antonis Andriotis, Justin Smith, Big Idea 3, La Mississippi Madman. We're going to have to make that song. Predminator, Greg Brewer, Black Peter, Adrian James, Motionless Zombie, Deer Hunter, Mr. Zug, Suspirian Knight, Not My Truth, The Truth is in the house. Rambo Raff is in here as well. He's a big wrestling fan from years gone by, not so much lately. Yeah. Max Wren 82. And we're probably not going to be able to keep up too much with the chat tonight, but we appreciate everybody in here. Carta is in here, Davey Collins.
Davey Boy Collins.
Horrid Films. Seth Drake, an old school. That's old school Dead Pit guy. Welcome, sir.
Oh yeah, I remember that name.
Alpha Romero, Movie Junkie John.
Big Match Jim.
Keith Stofferson is in here, one of the highwaymen. So guys, we're going to go all the way back there just for a day. 1985, the very first WrestleMania event. And by the way, Stuntman Mark is still at work. I saw a couple people asking about, so he's helping some Future X employees get some cocaine or whatever they was doing.
Future X employees.
Well, that's where he gets all the extra money to buy all that fancy stuff,
Right. So, yeah,
Let me see if I can make this somewhat bigger. That's what she
Got some
said.
tears here. What do we got,
looks
boys?
pretty good. We got the
Ah,
top
yeah.
tier, yeah. So it's similar, but a little bit different. We start off at the very tippity top, the cream of the crop, yeah. And you got good. You got Tom Zink, Z-Man level. That's just kind of, you know. That doesn't work for me, brother. And the dress like shine. I don't have that clip ready tonight, so I'll have to
Oh,
do
damn
it.
it.
All right, so we're starting off 1985. They were doing a lot of specials and stuff around this time period too. So I almost think when this one started, they didn't know if this would be a series or not. I don't know if you guys remember they did the Brawl to End It All, the War to Settle the Score, the Big Event, all
The
kinds of
horrible
these
titles.
one-off shows. And WrestleMania, though, I think was the first one that was like a closed circuit sort of deal where people could go and movie theaters and everything and watch it together. So, I mean, this was the first one. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, the matches themselves, there's nothing really super memorable match-wise that's in this, but it is kind of an epic show.
The
Yeah.
final, the big main event was Hulk and Mr. T versus Orndorff and Piper, but there's a lot of horrible matches on this too that people don't remember. Like you had fucking Bruno Sammartino's son was on this pay per view versus
God, he was the fucking drizzly.
I forget his
shits,
name
dude.
too, but he's
David
Sammartino.
Sammartino.
Yeah, and I mean, there's just a lot of filler in this, and there's really nothing great, even in the main event. It's
The
not
opening
that
match was
great.
Tito Santana versus the Executioner.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, I'm somewhere kind of around like in towards the middle or maybe just one down from the top tier because of the not because of the matches themselves on the card, but just the event, the whole idea of it,
And
just the
Mhm.
legacy that it created, going forward after that first show. Just like I don't know, I think we kind of have to give it like a fair shot here, just because it innovated. It's the one that started it all. You know what I mean?
It is like the one that Vince leveraged everything on. We probably wouldn't be talking about wrestling right now if it wasn't for the show.
That's what I was saying. It's and it does have the look of the show is kind of epic as well for some reason. I always thought that.
It's not a good show. I mean, if we're just basing it on the actual show itself, it's not good.
You know what's
Like,
funny about
but it-
that is that I was going to say what's funny about that is that I think we look at it like that because of our generation. But can you imagine like the people like that were there for the event, like how they felt? Like that was probably like the biggest like wrestling event at the time.
I mean,
I don't know if
that's
it was
true.
my age either, but I don't know. The first couple manias for me, like besides the main event, like I don't remember there being like storylines, just more of random guys just put together. Am I wrong?
There
with
was
that,
squash
or-
matches. There were fucking squash matches on the first
Yeah.
couple
Yeah, they're all
WrestleManias.
really short matches too, from what
Yeah.
I'm seeing on here. The only thing that was over, there were two matches that were over 10 minutes long, and that was the Beefcake San Martino match and the main event, which Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Mr. Wonderful and Roddy Piper. Being completely fair, just because it was the first Mania, I could put it in Z-Man level.
Yeah, that's what
That's
I was
where I would put it.
Thank you.
All right.
Me and Mr. T have been clanging and banging, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Just
Now
that-
this
that-
next one, I fucking can't defend this even for that era.
Well, this one was kind of a flop even for then, because
Yeah.
this was like 3 different locations, and they were trying to do.
It's like New York, Los
simulcast.
Angeles.
I mean, even still, like
and-
Hogan Bundy is not really a strong.
Chicago.
That was the
I mean-
LA main event, I think. That was the Los Angeles one with Hogan
I
and Bunny
think
with
so.
steel cage match. Yeah.
Because one of the main event for one of the locations was Mr. T and Piper. And
Yep.
Hey, brother! I do like remember.
And I think
didn't they put Hogan in Didn't Bundy put Hogan in hospital, and they told fans to write in and stuff like that? I think I wrote in.
How many times did they do that, dude? They did that with Quake. I mean,
They did what he did. I
how
forgot
many
about
times did
that.
they have?
They did that with Randy Orton as well back in like 2003 or something.
Well, do you remember when they did the Quake one? Do you remember why they did that? So the Quake squashed Hogan. He went to the hospital. You could write in. My friend Zach wrote in, and then what they did, like I can actually still remember the clear as day of him drawing a picture and like writing in on his coffee table and basically said he wanted to kill Earthquake like that. And we were like little kids. And he's like writing that
I'm
to
gonna
Hogan,
kill
right?
you, dude.
And then what they did was when everybody who mailed Hogan a letter to the address that they gave you, they took everybody's return address and plugged them for like magazine
Oh my god.
mail. So it was all like a big ploy to like get these addresses to send
That's
you know, a free
That's
magazine and
actually
try to get people to
ingenious.
subscribe. Yeah, it was a wild
I
thing.
mean, if
because
you
all
want
of
to
a sudden
call it
I remember
that.
I was like, he's like, I get Wrestle magazines now.
Well, you
Look,
got to
it's-
think this was like '86, so this sort of thing was probably new. Like people getting contacts and stuff to show all their shit.
Damn, that's crazy.
I do
think-
remember the battle royal in this. That was kind of
Yeah.
fun.
I think it's really
Refrigerator
cool
Barry.
the NFL versus the WWF. And speaking of that though, I was looking earlier because WrestleMania has always kind of had this thing where they feature celebrities pretty much at every WrestleMania. And I was seeing that WrestleMania 2 has the most celebrities out of any other WrestleMania. It's like 26 people, I think I counted. But a lot of those is like the football players in that battle royal.
Ozzy Osbourne was one of them. I remember that.
Yeah, Elvira's there.
Elvira,
too. Who else? I think. Shit, I forget.
What's interesting though, like, and one thing I remember about the battle royal, I don't know if you guys recall this, is the Hart Foundation had blue and black on in this.
I remember that.
Yeah.
There was a very
Remember that?
short period they did
I
that.
always thought that was so odd. Yeah.
I never
very
liked
odd.
the black and blue attire.
Well, they didn't wear it very much. I think maybe I saw it one other time on like a Saturday night's main event or something like that, and that was it. But Bret Hart was the last one that Andre eliminated. And it's an interesting thing because they tried a couple of different times throughout these manias to push Bret Hart as a singles guy in the 80s before he eventually become,
I just don't think he had his like style or promos worked out enough to
The
do that
promos were the
shit.
problem for sure.
Yeah.
They were really bad. I mean, Anvil kind of carried the promos with those two guys for a while.
It's ironic that you mentioned that, Wes, because like 2 years later at WrestleMania 4, Bret Hart was in another battle royal where he was the last one eliminated, and that's where his kind of face turn, I think, began.
Yeah, I think they were originally going to do it then, but there was another battle royal in that show too.
I can't.
WrestleMania 2 though.
I
The
can't put
boxing
this-
match, Piper and Mr. T.
I would say for me, it would be "Don't Work for Me, Brother."
That's where I would put it. Like, I don't think it's any better than that.
Although I think the main
agree.
event was a little bit better than the first one, in my
Got
opinion.
the cage
Like
going.
the big
Which
blue
one?
cage,
Which main event? There's
Bundy
three
and
of them.
Hogan. Yeah,
But which is funny, when we get to WrestleMania 3, we'll talk more about Bundy.
that doesn't work for me, brother. I'm
So to
fine with
me,
that.
this is really where like WrestleMania takes off. To me, this was '85 when WrestleMania 3. So I was like 5 years old. I do remember.
87.
Was it '87? Okay.
No, 3
87.
was 86, I think, isn't it?
No,
Or
85
no,
was
you're right. 85 was
85 was 3.
yeah.
87 was 3.
87 was 3.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No
No
way.
way.
WrestleMania 1 was in 85.
Yeah, you're right.
2 was in
My bad.
86.
Well-
3 was in 87.
All right.
There's
well, then I
no
was
way
7.
though. It can't be 87, right?
March the 29th,
I thought it was
1987.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
That is right.
yeah. I guess you're right.
Okay. Regardless, though, to me, this is where like I remember like the majority of the shit because this has 2 like classic matches on
Yeah.
it that everybody remembers to this day that knows anything about wrestling. too.
And one of them is one of the best technical wrestling matches of all time. I mean, just how that match was planned out. And I'm talking about Macho Man and Steamboat. I mean, just how I think Macho Man was actually the one that planned out every fucking move for that match, and it was like somewhere around 180 some moves in total or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, that was one of the best matches. And then the epicness of WrestleMania 3 as well. The size, the Pontiac Silverdome, and the look of that show. That was just, that, to me, there's no way that you couldn't put that as cream of the crop, in my opinion.
People
Yeah.
always they go back now about the Hogan Andre match and like it's fucking sucks and all this. Dude,
No.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like that match, and in particular that slam, was like at that time period, people lost their
Iconic,
mind.
sure,
about that.
yeah.
Like that
And
was
it's-
everything. You know, it was on
And it
every
still
show.
is. It still is one of the most iconic moments, ever. Just
Well,
because
that's the thing.
that's-
Like, I've heard, I think it was Kevin Owens that mentioned in an interview recently that there's great matches and everything.
Mhm.
People don't really remember just the great matches, it's the moments.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that big stare down with Hogan and Andre at the beginning of that match is one of the most epic, iconic moments ever
agree.
in the history of wrestling.
And the thing is, you just too many people nowadays that are wrestling fans only look at wrestling and like this. Oh, that show was good because like all the matches you were like done. They did like 10 flips in each match and all that. Nobody. I mean, that's not the thing. Like wrestling is more about storytelling than it is the actual moves and or how skilled you are in the ring. It's a matter of how you play your character is what really gets you over in this business, and it's not the fucking 10 backflips you do off the top rope in one match. It's none of that matters.
You're not a Kenny
Yeah.
Omega fan then?
Yeah.
I mean,
He's
I
not
like
an Osprey guy.
Yeah, not
I mean, I
Australia.
like some of that stuff too, but yeah, like there's only so much you can do before it's like, okay, I've seen this a gazillion times.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not-
it's sometimes you see the clips of like even AEW and a lot of indie stuff where it's like there's so many reversals that it's just like it's just a dance. Like it's not
People
even
are-
a believable
People are
like
kicking out of like top rope Canadian
yeah, but even
destroyers
like
and shit.
guys
Like,
that are doing a move and then all of a sudden he like reverses it into something else, and you're like, there's no way that in any kind of like theory that would ever work unless that guy did a flip himself. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, it just starts to get a little bit silly to me.
and all
Um,
that stuff is cool and everything, but like I mean, if you could be the greatest wrestler in the ring that there is, but if you don't have a good character, if you can't shoot a good fucking promo, then none of that shit matters, in my opinion.
So
I mean,
there,
a lot of guys did really well without any of that. Cena, Hogan, Warrior. I mean, they didn't need to have the biggest repertoire.
there
But
were
those-
12
yeah, those
matches
guys
on the
talk,
show though. and
Like,
aside from those two, there's really nothing else. I mean, there was
No,
the
that's-
midget match with Hillbilly Jim.
well,
and,
see, that's what I was going to talk about.
those
Like
two make it though.
King Kong Bundy was in the main event just a year prior, and then the next year he's like on the third match on the card in this random 6-man tag with these midgets.
You know what I used
I
to
don't
get?
think they really
always
like
wonder about
Bundy, to be honest, from what I gather.
the midget stuff. Why were they always biting the wrestlers' asses? That's
that
what I
was
know.
their thing. That was,
That was
Yeah,
like
that was their
their
gimmick.
thing,
Can't.
like their move sets was always I'm gonna bite this guy's ass.
I always loved the names like the Haiti Kid and Little Tokyo and Lord
Little Beaver.
Littlebrook and
Lord Littlebrook,
Little
yeah.
bit.
Little
Native
Louie
American
and-
guy.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, cream of the crop. I don't think anybody's going to really argue with that. Now, a very interesting one though coming up is
WrestleMania 4, yeah.
yeah.
That's a weird
It's
one.
a tournament. This is
Very
the weird
weird.
part about it. There was a vacated championship. I remember this.
Mhm.
And there's a tournament for the championship, which is an odd way
The
to go
whole
about
show's a
this.
tournament, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
aside
always-
from like 2 matches, yeah, like because Warrior has a match I think against Hercules on this show, and it's just a regular singles match.
It did
And I
have
think
the
Hogan
best
and Andre is on this
VHS
again, right?
box
But
of all
it's like
time. Though it's a double VHS box with the Hulkster brother.
Oh, that's nice.
But I never did like this pay per view, to be honest.
Pay per view is pretty bad, really.
Yeah.
man.
I was never a fan of this one. This was the first one that I'd seen as a kid. I didn't really understand it, but you know what I will say is that I kind of do miss the importance of tournaments in wrestling. Like, I feel like they're like, if they do King of
Well-
the Ring, like I want the whole tournament on that show. Like, I don't like how they do it now, where all of a sudden by the end they're having a pay per view and like they just have like the qualifying match, like the last two matches or something. Like I miss
Yeah.
tournaments. Like,
I
but
ta- I take
obviously
it
I
you
don't
don't
want
wa-
that as my WrestleMania. But I just miss the idea of it.
Garrett, I take it you don't watch much AEW because that's all they fucking do over there.
Oh no, yeah, I don't. I haven't watched AEW since like
Killer.
Punk got the episode Punk was there or something. Yeah.
Man, but I can't think of, like, there was the Battle Royal. I kind of remember that. It was a total of 16 different
Well,
matches.
The
on
final,
this show.
the final match is pretty good. That's the only redeeming quality that this show has to me. It's
Yeah.
DiBiase versus Macho Man, and that's a great fucking match, to be honest. But like the rest of the show, it's kind of shit, to be honest. But
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, like that's the thing that I remember the most about WrestleMania 4 because that was Savage's first world title in the WWF, and I'm like with Garrett. I enjoy tournaments, but just this one, just where it filled the entire card of WrestleMania, like. Was that necessary? I mean, they could have just had
It's
like
too much. Yeah.
well, there's no storyline to it really either. It's just a tournament that fucking, you know what I mean? Like just random guys were fighting each other. There was nothing.
They'd have a
there.
couple of tag team matches thrown in there. They had Demolition versus Strike Force as well. I remember that one being pretty decent.
Oh yeah, that's when Rick Martel turns on Tito Santana and they end
That
Strike
was
Force.
that was 5, WrestleMania 5.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay,
He
my
turned on
bad.
him, yeah. But Strike Force I think they were a pretty underrated team, but for sure. But yeah, I was always a big fan of those guys. Yeah, 4 was just. Is that what we're talking about? Still, we're still talking 4.
Yeah,
right?
we got to get off. We got 36 more. Than
Yeah,
fucking-
The
okay, let's
Drizzly
get-
shits. I'm fine putting in the
Alright.
Drizzly
Yeah, let's
shits.
do it.
The mega powers explode, brother.
Dude,
I don't have to
I
think
fucking
much
love
on
this
this
one.
Yeah.
I love WrestleMania 5. I think it's crazy to think because this is around the same time like I got into wrestling, but like it's crazy to think that Savage held that belt for a full year from 4 to 5, basically. It's like I must have just not really been paying attention on like everything that happened between the two. I think I went from Mania and then right to this Mania. I think was
Well, don't
probably
worry.
my
He didn't
second.
hold it for long after this.
The
No, but it was good to see
Macho-
him coming in as world champion. I liked
Yeah.
it. It felt good because
It
you
was
weren't
different for
used to that anymore after this. It was kind of like his little time to shine, you know.
Well, and it was really, got to remember too, this was a whole year-long storyline that they were telling with the mega powers and the slow turn.
Yeah.
And eventually it was on a Saturday night's main event, a backstage deal where Savage just lit Hogan up and, attacked him and all this shit after Elizabeth, I think, got hurt.
This could be one.
loved Elizabeth.
Gives
I
him a
hate your
kiss
guts.
behind. Do you remember that promo where she gave Hogan a kiss behind Macho Man's back? Like they're talking and stuff. And
Yeah.
Hogan's like, she gives Macho Man a kiss, and then Hogan's like, how about a kiss for me or whatever? And like, he's doing something else, and she like goes and gives him a kiss, and he's like, what's going on? And he's like
thing-
looking around.
The thing with this storyline though is when you really think about it, Hogan was the biggest heel out of the both of them, dude.
He was,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Well,
like,
if-
like that's
in real life and
know?
both in the show. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you look at the morality and the logistics of it all, that yeah, for sure, Hogan would be seen as the heel and all that.
100%. Like, and then everybody was like, "Yeah, go Hogan." I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Missed the steal your girl over
Yeah,
here."
it's all-
Basically.
Well, they
But
also
this could
had
be-
the plot line with Andre the Giant and Jake the Snake, with the snake. Like, I
Yeah.
always loved that too because Andre was scared to death of the snake.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
Jake
different
the
stuff
Snake.
on. Like, I watched.
Yeah.
This was probably the one that I maybe watched the most as a kid.
I think
I had the
it-
tape of it. Of
It
course.
could be the
Busting
best.
those eyes.
It could be one of the best storyline like build-ups that they've ever done in WWE.
I 100% agree. I think it's one of the Hogan Savage was one of the best builds ever.
Yeah, it's
Agreed.
seen a lot of popularity based off that feud
Oh.
alone. I mean, like just the whole nostalgia, like merchandise that's come out just the past 10 years. There's a ton of like mega power stuff out there, and just like that whole like by the whole mega powers explode going into WrestleMania 5. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think it's one of my like personal favorites, but I think it's one of like as far as like story wise, it's definitely top tier probably.
I think so. I think it's
All
got
right.
to be the cream of
Well,
the
the
crop.
crop.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, they had the big Piper's Pit
Ah,
segment on that
yeah.
show too. I always loved it.
Don't
with,
blow smoke in my face.
Morton
Now I'm going to
Downey
tell
Jr.
you. I'm going to tell you something about this next one. WrestleMania 6 is probably not the greatest WrestleMania or anything from a match perspective, but this is the one I have the most nostalgia about of any WrestleMania we're going to talk about, because this is the Hogan and Warrior match, which you never saw at this time, by the way. You never saw two
You
faces.
barely see it now, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, they
like
they
do a
just
main
turned
event.
Cena heel. Like, we almost got something like this, but they had to turn somebody heel, which is fine. But we never get two guys that are at that level of popularity to square off. It just doesn't ever happen. So I agree. This was still so special, and the build for WrestleMania 3, was huge. 4, not so much. 5, 6, a bunch of these going forward. Like, the main events had really nice builds to them, and I think that
There's a ton of matches
6
on the show.
yeah,
too.
6 was loaded with matches. Now, the ones that stand out,
There's one. There's a
sadly,
great
like,
one
I
in
remember
here.
the main event, and then, like, when Piper had the black and white.
Bad News Brown and
Oh
Piper.
my
Yeah.
god, dude! Well, that's not the one that really stands out to me.
Hot shot.
It was the DiBiase Jake the Snake match in this too. Like
Mhm.
that promo that he cuts and everything. That's fucking. I mean, there's an insane, really good match in there with that too.
Well,
But it is-
I'm with Uncle Bill here. Like, this is to me one of the most nostalgic WrestleManias for me, because if you look at just the card, everybody that's on this card was everybody that was like one of the top stars in the 80s in the WWF at that time is a part of this card. Dusty Rhodes is on this, Savage, Hogan, Andre, Piper. I
Yeah.
mean, they're all there. Even if the matches aren't all that great for some of them, I mean, just like as far as nostalgia goes, this is one of the
It's a
top.
loaded show.
I
yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
match though. I think the Hogan and Warrior match, even though people talk shit about it, I think it's effective to this day because of the way that it was done, the psychology behind it and everything. I hated it when I was a kid. Like, I hated the fact Hogan lost. Like, that was like the worst possible thing I could think of.
Was
like,
this Andre's very last WWF match? That's what
I don't know if it was
I
his last
don't
match, but it was his
know.
last.
what
it
was
his last
the
Mania.
what was the match?
It was the Colossal Connection versus Demolition for the
Mhm.
tag belt.
I thought he had him.
That might be right. Alfa Romero may be right on that.
I'm pretty sure it's
In
his last
7 he
WrestleMania
was,
match.
Yeah.
7 he was on the crutches with bushwhackers, so it wasn't.
Yeah.
So 6 had to have been his last Mania match for sure. I mean, I
As
remember
an-
he had the Colossal Connection thing.
As an overall card, though, man, I don't know if I would put 6 at the very top.
No, I mean,
no,
but I would put it in good.
good.
Oh,
I
yeah,
really
I mean,
would.
definitely good. I mean, again, like Uncle Bill said, being a kid at this time, what a tough thing. I mean, I remember being in elementary school and the classroom be split with Team Hogan and Team Warrior. I was always Warrior. My next door neighbor Zach was always Hogan. So it was like one of those things that your favorite guys are now battling, and you're like trying to figure out which one you really like. And the crowd was completely split on this. They just did a really good job building these two dudes up.
Yeah, and I talked to Wes about that not that long ago. So I'd like to hear your and Uncle Bill's thoughts on this. So, this was the first ever main event match for Hogan at WrestleMania where he was, facing another face. And so this was also during a time, I think, that Hogan's popularity was kind of starting to come down a little bit.
They say that, yeah.
And Warrior was, so big that him and Hogan were kind of on the same level of popularity at that time. So, I mean, do you think people at that time expected Warrior to go over Hogan, or
No, I
Mm-mm.
mean, I can remember like watching this, like when it happened. Like, this is one of the few pay-per-views that I ever got
I
a
didn't
chance
think
to
it
watch.
would happen either, just because Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion, and I'm like, well, they're not going to give him both. He's not going to have
Yeah,
both belts.
nobody that I was watching this with thought that Warrior was going to win. I can tell you that. No,
Well, that's another cool thing too, is that they made at that time IC title mean so much, dude. Like, to have that guy as like the number one guy and do the title for title. That's another thing that I feel like, doesn't get touched enough, is that how important it was to have both dudes with those belts. It's not like now where there's tons of belts. Like, that was it.
Mhm.
So, you have these two guys that have the two championship belts going at it. It's incredible.
So yeah, it was a great one too. So we're moving on the next year. This is another one of This is one of my personal favorite manias as well. Another one that I watched numerous times, and I think it's overall kind of an underrated one.
Well, it
I
had a
was
lot of
shocked that you said that.
controversy. Yeah, it had a lot of controversy kind of coming
Yes, it
into
really did.
WrestleMania 7, surrounding Sergeant Slaughter. Just insane. If you go back and look into all that, it's like it's a wonder that guy didn't get fucking killed.
That's true.
They said he almost did, and I
Yeah.
was surprised I heard Wes say this because I thought I was going to come in and raise this one to the sky as like one of the best, and everybody was going to shit on me because this might be my favorite WrestleMania ever.
Well,
And I don't know if it was just it's nostalgia goggles. I don't know if it's
no,
I
it's
don't think
actually
so.
really
where I
good.
was at the time and how I remember being on the bus. And again, people like, if Hogan loses to Slaughter, I'm never watching again. Like it was a big deal. And I remember being at my friend Tommy's watching this live at his house on pay-per-view and just being like at the edge of our seat from beginning to end.
So
I mean, I can
Man,
great
there's
matches on this one too.
there's some
Nasties and
great
hearts and good
Yeah,
stuff.
There's some great
I think
matches on
it's
this besides
Ultimate
Hogan and
Warriors.
Slaughter.
Ultimate Warrior's best match ever is on this show, in my opinion.
Warrior versus
Oh,
Macho
yeah.
Man, and then the
Yeah.
retirement match.
I would
Yeah,
agree with that.
I think that's probably match of the night. I couldn't believe I rewatched this one the other day because for anybody that doesn't know, Peacock has the pay-per-view cut of all these old shows
Yep.
on there. So I hadn't seen that version of it with like Willie Nelson singing the freaking Star Spangled Banner and stuff. I'd
Yeah,
never
he had the
seen
little
that
toy
before.
belt on. Remember, like the
Yeah.
little toy belt he was wearing.
But there's a lot of great matches on this. The Nasty Boys and the Hart Foundation,
Awesome.
that's Hart. That's Nasty's very best match too. I would say.
I'll tell you another great match that you would never think of that's on this pay-per-view is the Rockers and the
yeah,
Barbarians.
and Warlord and British Bulldog.
Yeah.
They had
Yep.
great chemistry together in the ring, man.
And
those
this
two
is
did.
this is an important one because this is where the streak begins for Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is this the fucking? Wait,
Jimmy
which one is
Snuka.
this? The Jimmy
Snuka.
Snuka one? Okay.
Yeah.
Squash match.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this one means a lot to me, and I would put it in cream of the crop. But again, I understand it's not everybody's favorite. Business was not booming here, I don't think. I mean, I think because of the Slaughter thing, it was a little bit lackluster. I mean, you went from Hogan Warrior and Slaughter. I mean, the only thing holding this thing together was that they made Slaughter so evil that I think people were invested. But I think there's a lot of people turned off from
They
the
were
whole thing.
originally going to have it in a much larger place too, right? Wasn't it going to be like in a big
Yeah, and they had to
Coliseum or
cancel
something?
it because I think they say it was because of bomb threats. I think it was because they weren't selling enough tickets.
I think so too.
Right.
I remember this time period. Yeah.
Do you
But-
guys think that the
Okay.
like the card layout was kind of weird at that time too? Because like the main event was Hogan and Slaughter, but the match right before that was the Mountie and Tito Santana.
Yeah, that was
I
like
think that they had to
20
do like
seconds
a.
long or
That's a
something.
great
Yeah,
match.
I think they had to do like
Like
you know when
20
they used to.
seconds.
They still do it sometimes where they had like everybody was such at a high for Savage Warrior. I think they wanted to take everybody back down, so Hogan Slaughter had a little bit more juice. Because if it would have came after that thing with Warrior and Savage and Elizabeth, like people would have been like, "Oh yeah, well this main event's boring now because we just."
Well, I mean,
Well,
they've
you'll
done
see that. I was going to
Yeah,
say, you'll
they've
see
done
that
that plenty
happen
of times.
a lot later in this show. You'll see that happen
Yeah.
a bunch of times.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with putting 7 at cream of the crop.
Damn,
Oh yeah,
I don't.
I would
All right.
definitely. I mean, and it was so. Even if you go back and watch it, it was really a fun event. Like Duggan came out at the beginning, like everything was very USA oriented. Like there was a lot of hype at this event, and yeah,
I like almost every match
dug it.
on this though too.
Same.
I mean, overall,
Yeah.
it's a pretty.
It's
solid
a very well balanced. Yeah. of the
Demolition's
ones that-
farewell as well. Like they were wrestling.
that
a
was
couple of-
that though. That's the one thing. If I could turn back time and say what would I have changed on WrestleMania 7? WrestleMania 7 should have been LOD versus Demo. That should have been Mania 7. That was a match everybody wanted. And the Demolition got completely, it was a stupid match against those other dudes and then what, Power and Glory versus LOD? They should have just
Yeah,
had Power and
squash
Glory
match.
versus the Asian guys and then had Demolition and LOD. Like they missed their
guys.
boat. Like that was such an important match that I don't know what they were waiting for when they just wasted Demolition. And I think that was Demolition's last Mania.
It
And
was.
they could have
Yeah.
went out with a bang against LOD. I mean, that's what everybody wanted. So I don't know what they were doing there. We see this again down the road, like next year with a match that they blew. But that was always one where I was like, man, that would have even made this event even better to had seen that feud finally take place.
Yeah, I never thought about that like that, but I agree. You're completely right on
Yeah.
that.
That was definitely a missed opportunity. And then continuing on, like you were saying, to WrestleMania 8, which Crater and I talked a bit about. We did you remember the March to WrestleMania specials that they had back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of did little brief reviews on those. And we were talking about it. It's weird because I think for the first time ever, their plans, they kind of changed them with the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Which the I don't know if you would call this whatever the main event is with Hogan's fucking one of the worst main events.
It was a
Hogan and
mess.
Sid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's so
should have
weird, too.
never been that.
because usually the main event for the WrestleMania would be the WWF Championship, and this
That's
was
right.
that match between Savage and Flair on this was in the middle of the card.
Yep. It's so weird.
And it was
because you almost
it was
feel
built
like,
way better too than Hogan Sid. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Savage and Flair should have been the main event. Not only was it for the belt, but it was also the storyline behind it was intriguing
Well,
enough.
And it was
Considering
the best, like it was
they
a
threw it
great
together.
match too. How
yeah.
like that would have been the perfect match for them to end the show with, but they did have the plan of Ultimate Warrior run in at the end, so they wanted.
think
It
to
just
this is
get-
didn't
where
work
you-
for Hogan, brother.
I was going to say, I think this is
Yeah.
where you see Hogan, like them starting to get scared because business is going down, them starting to rely on Hogan when they really shouldn't have because he was not really.
And this
the
was
guy.
really beginning a pretty long down period for WWF. In the early to mid 90s, and you can tell with like some of the people that's on this show. Tito Santana was like on every freaking WrestleMania.
You know
for
what? He had a
a
good match
while.
on this with Shawn Michaels, though. This was really
Very
like the
good.
start of Shawn Michaels being like
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
the Shawn Michaels we know
the,
now.
the Repo Man. So technically, Demolition was on this kind of as the Repo Man.
They fought each other, didn't they, or no? Was it Repo Man versus Crush? I think.
It was that 8-man tag match that Repo Man was in.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah,
was,
Big Boss Man,
Repo
Virgil,
Man.
Sergeant Slaughter, and Hacksaw versus the Mountie, the Nasty Boys, and the Repo Man.
Damn.
Yeah.
Tatanka versus Rick Martel, Owen Hart versus Skinner.
Yeah,
I
this
tell
was
you, though-
not
That's
a
just
good-
a waste right there.
I mean, I think Wes has probably nostalgic love for this because he was there, but
I was like, but I can honestly say that like as an overall card, it's not very strong, but
yeah.
it has a couple of great matches on it that
Oh,
people
yeah.
need to check out. Like
Bret Hart and Roddy Piper. That's both of those guys. Like this is one of my favorite Bret Hart matches and
Yeah.
one of my favorite Roddy Piper matches. And I thought, that was probably the best match on the entire card.
well, I think Macho Man and Flair was another one that was great. I think they gave them the longest time of any other matches. It was-
Yeah, it looks like 18 minutes and 4 seconds is what that match went. So
So what do you
Now,
think?
do you
in
think that
terms
this
of-
would have gone down in history as a bigger event if they would have just went with Hogan Flair?
oh yeah, absolutely.
They should
Well,
have.
that was the
It
plan.
still boggles my mind that they
almost
couldn't
a
make
year
that
ahead of
happen.
time. That was the plan. I don't know, like who knows why they never did do that in WWF.
Well, you'll see a
What-
pattern
that's another
here
missed
of like
opportunity, man.
of Sid at WrestleMania sucking too is the problem. Like you'll see a pattern very soon.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Hogan and Flair definitely, like Garrett said, it would be huge. I think this would be probably looked at as one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time because I just think we were kind of seeing that politicking done by Hogan at this time, and
Well.
they may have wanted Flair to go over Hogan, and that just didn't work for him. So he's like, no, I'm gonna face Sid at this WrestleMania.
It's fucking
Well,
yeah,
By
it's
WrestleMania 9, we should have all known like that
Where
Hogan
would you
was a
guys
piece of
put
shit.
8th though? I'm just.
I'd put it
curious.
in. I'd put it at Z-Man level.
Yes, same Z-Man.
If it was me.
Mhm.
Okay. Although I think that there's better matches on 8 than there is the first Mania.
I agree with you.
Well,
All right,
Yeah.
WrestleMania 9, dude.
I don't
Drizzling
even.
shits.
There's no question in my
100%.
mind.
What?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Dude.
I love 9, dude.
Don't even try this shit, Garrett. There's
For
no
the
way.
aesthetic alone, I love.
It looks
Caesar's
great.
Palace.
I'll give it that. But the matches, man, what match was good on the show?
What do we got? We got Brett
Let me-
Yoke. You got.
Well, you
is
got
this-
Brett Yokozuna for about
I
10
remember-
minutes. Then you got Hogan and Yokozuna for about 20 seconds.
Oh, that's right. When he comes out,
Yeah.
he's like, "I'll get him, brother." And Brett's like, "Oh,
What
God."
about
I
the
don't- that's-
And
Doink
it's
versus
not-
Crush
Fuck
with the
that.
evil,
Doink
with 2 doinks?
I would say that
Double
the
doink.
Steiners and the Head Shrinkers might be the best match on the card.
And think about that. That's the match of the whole card.
That's true. What is it? Tatanka Michaels?
Luger and Mr. Perfect, and they didn't mesh well together.
Oh God. Is this Taker Gante?
I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Giant Gonzalez. Yeah.
Ty Gonzalez.
I think
This
was,
has got to,
of
man.
that
I
era.
mean-
Yeah, it's the worst one of that era. I
It's
think.
not. You're right. It's
No.
not good. I think the aesthetic of Caesars like always
That's
won me
just-
over, but
Well,
as a
let me
fun
tell you,
watch. But as far as the matches, yeah.
looking back at it though, like, man, if Hogan hadn't done what he did at the end of that show,
Yep.
and I think that the ending would have been great with Yokozuna going over Brett, and they just finished the fucking show right
Yep.
there. But
yeah,
Hogan had-
Anything
the
would have
Hogan
been
thing
better.
was so stupid. Like it doesn't make any sense in any situation that he can just run in. He already had a tag match
Yep.
earlier that day. Runs in and Brett, somehow him and Brett decide he's getting a title.
yeah,
shot.
go in there
Like,
and get him, brother.
like, the match is
Brett's
over.
like,
Like,
dude,
what do you
dude.
mean?
So-
who made this match? Brett? Like, here's the new match.
Something else that's interesting though too that I thought I would mention to you guys because the way things were that Monday Night Raw. This was the first Mania where Monday Night Raw was actually the next night, and it was a taped show that had been done before WrestleMania 9. So I just thought that was pretty interesting. That it was taped weeks earlier, and I guess Vince or Bobby or whoever it was did voiceovers earlier that morning talking about the results, or maybe they just scripted it all out. I don't know, but I thought that was kind of interesting as well.
Get him, Hogan.
And
That's so bad. And
that's when he had the eye thing too. Like he had the black
Yeah, the
eye and
black
shit.
eye,
Yeah.
he was like kind of thinner, like because I think he was off
Yeah.
the roids at the
Right.
time. And then,
Yeah,
That was
he
after
looked
the steroid
really
stuff.
different.
Decent
and his
figure
match
skating
was him and
Hogan.
Beefer versus Money Inc. Like that's shitty, dude. Like,
That is
Hogan
bad.
sounds like a fucking.
And
I
that
remember
was
even when I
match
was
or
like
whatever.
13 years old, I'm like, what in the fuck? Why? Why
Well,
would
I
you
used to
do
get
that?
scared that poor
Wow.
Beefer's face was going to shatter because remember they kept saying that if he gets punched in the face, it's going to shatter like glass. And
You
I thought I was
know,
going to see like eyeballs hanging out. and
If
stuff.
they wanted Hogan to be a part of it, why couldn't he have just been like the referee for Yoko and Brett?
I just
He
think it
should've
came down to it wasn't really them. It was just Hogan was like, dude, I want to win the championship, brother. You put me in there and like I'll carry
Yeah.
the company, dude. And
I'll
then
get
that was
business
it.
back. I'll get business booming.
Hogan was so fucking bad too. Like people loved it, but like his mannerisms and stuff, he would go to check on Brett. But,
Oh God.
Well,
Somebody help.
do you think that? So this was Hogan's last WrestleMania for a while, and do you think that like he knew at this point that he was going to be leaving, within like the next year? So he just was, basically said, "I got to be in the main end of the event."
I'm
for
not
the
sure
last
Hogan
time.
ever knew he was like not over. He
was doing,
he was
like-
gonna be leaving.
I
He
heard
was
an
doing-
interview where they again, it's hard to believe anything that really comes out of people's mouths sometimes, but somebody said something like they got cold feet. They gave Hogan the belt because they were doing some big tour of like Japan or something, like right then and there, and they wanted him to go over as the
Yeah,
champ.
that's
or something. So,
bullshit.
like they had to give him the belt so then he could go over there and like because he was such a big draw.
I've heard
over-
that
I don't
same
know.
story.
when that
I've heard
the
Yeah,
original
so-
plan was it was going to be Brett and Hogan at SummerSlam. and
Oh
that they
yeah,
had-
there was
yeah.
even the magazine that said that.
Yep.
Remember?
there was like
I
a
have
photo shoot and everything that they did to promote SummerSlam, and then something happened and Hogan dropped it, to Yoko by, some dirty photographer fucking his ass
Yeah.
up, buddy, brother.
Brett and Hogan would have been amazing. that would have been a match I would have loved to see because it fell on the same level of like the Warrior Hogan where Brett was up and coming. And, I think maybe Hogan was just afraid that he would have got booed versus Brett. So maybe he didn't want to.
You know what's crazy is that they've only ever had one match against each other in both their entire careers. And it was on my birthday, September 28th, 1998 on Monday Nitro. And it fucking was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think Brett had said that Hogan just didn't see him
at that level,
at
right?
his level, and he didn't want to do it. That's what Brett claims, I think.
I would trust Brett before I would trust Hogan. I mean, shit.
But yeah. WrestleMania 10 the next
Brett's
year.
revenge.
The drizzling shit continues. Yeah.
what?
No, not in this case.
WrestleMania 10 is one of my favorites of all time.
WrestleMania 10 is like a hell of a lot better than 9.
It
I
is.
mean,
better
Ben had the
than
ladder
but
match,
not-
which was
not by
amazing.
much. That's it.
Owen
Dude,
Brett was
are
great.
you kidding me? You got the Owen versus Brett match. You got the ladder match. Both those matches everybody still talks about to this day.
You got Bam Bam and Luna versus Doink and Dink, brother.
I didn't say it was all great, but I'm just saying. Like,
You got Savage versus Crush, remember?
Macho and Crush in a backstage brawl.
all right, so it's uneven, but like, it's got some killer matches on it as opposed to 9. What the fuck's 9 got on it?
No, but
I'm
you know what
not
I will
saying
say? I've always been a huge Luger mark, so that always bummed me out. Like I kind of wish it ended up being Luger Brett at the end instead of Yoko Brett at the end. I was always hoping that would have been the final match, but
I don't know, man. Like I really love how the whole event ends, and just like they at least made sense out of that with Luger, and they still made him look strong because where they had Mr. Perfect as the referee for his match, so he just kind of fucked over Luger in that match, and then so they had the same thing with Brett and Yoko at the end with Piper.
They did do the different color ropes there for a couple of years too, like gold and black ropes. 10 is okay. I mean,
I love it, dude.
To me, that's just a bad period for the company. Like
I'd put 10 in good, at least.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, because Brett versus Owen on that card, that's my favorite match of all time. I absolutely love that match. And the closest thing to that as being my favorite match would be Eddie versus Ray at Halloween Havoc '97.
Oh, that's a hell of a match too.
Wonder Blaze versus Lalani Kai. Hell yeah.
that one blew the fucking corner.
Earthquake versus Atom Bomb in 35 seconds.
Listen, to hear me out though, like just the impact that.
All right, I'm starting to back off on WrestleMania.
Was Men on a Mission on this one?
Yeah, Men on a Mission defeated the Quebecers with Johnny Polo.
Sick.
I don't honestly, dude. Like,
Shit.
Assignment on a mission sign.
Was there anything in Mania 10 other than that ladder match that beat Savage, Flair, or Popper? I
mean, I think between the ladder match and Brett and Owen, those are right on point with those other two for sure.
Because I would almost argue like WrestleMania's Z-Man level. I would put it with right in the middle.
Well, buddy, you're wrong.
Well, it's hard, man.
In this case, let's just send it over to the chat and see what they say.
So
it's either going to be average or good. Basically, I don't think it's going to be any.
I even think that the Macho Man and the Crush match, they had the Falls Count Anywhere match. I think even it's pretty fun. I mean, it's not great or nothing, but it's really fun.
He's not going to be able to get up.
Oh, Alpha says cream of the crop for 10.
Damn, boys, 2 people.
So did Justin says it too.
I mean,
no,
I'm being biased though.
I mean, it is hard because you got to take into consideration that ladder match and how much that really changed a lot.
Yeah, it's like it really, kind of inspired all the
good.
I would do good.
Yeah,
I don't think we're gonna get
crunch here.
Yeah, good's fine.
Okay, now we're going to get to one where shit really starts. I don't even know how anybody defends this, but I want to hear somebody try.
11 is not good, man. It's unfortunate.
This is the worst
I'm a huge
year
Shawn
ever
Michaels fan.
You
But
So here's
Diesel power was kind of running on empty at this point.
Also,
what
don't
I-
forget the classic Undertaker versus King Kong Bundy match. That was
Oh
on
yeah,
there,
then you
too.
got. Oh, I forgot you got Lawrence Taylor's. This is the one.
That
LT's
was
the
one of
main
the best
event.
matches on the whole show, though. That's how bad
Yep.
it was. Bam Bam and Lawrence Taylor.
Here's what's interesting to me is that one of the matches here on this card is Shawn versus Diesel for the WWF title. And, so Shawn got in that match because he won the Royal Rumble. And then, the next year he would win the Rumble again. Do you think that Shawn politicked his way into the main event the next year as well because he got fucked over at 11?
I 100%
No,
think
I think
that
what
you're
happened was
probably right.
What happened was Michaels was in this one. They thought Diesel was just gonna, it was a former bodyguard. It made sense as storyline. And Michaels outperformed Diesel so much that people started to turn, and they kind of created a babyface Shawn Michaels. So they had to run with it because they're like, holy shit, he was getting cheered. He literally was like the biggest heel that we had. He's getting cheered now over our champion. So then they did that big switch where Sid became the villain, attacked Michaels.
Right.
And
Psycho
then,
Sid.
then Michaels came back. He had the little beard. He came back as a babyface. And he was just so over that I think by the time that next Rumble came back, they were like, we have no choice but we have nobody else.
And you don't think any
I
politicking
remember-
was involved?
I don't think he had. I don't.
They didn't
think
have a whole
so.
lot to choose from then.
I don't know. The
They
clique
didn't,
was
and I
pretty much-
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
clique
were
was running
starting
wild.
to kind of run at that point. I guess you're right, but I think
Opening match. That's what I always
can't
remember.
wait.
Hey, you know what else too? And I don't want to be mean or anything, but you know how they always had celebrities that sung like the Star Spangled
don't
Banner
you say
and
anything
stuff
about
like that?
New Kids on the Block or Donnie Wahlberg, please.
Well, he was on there. Yeah,
I know
that
he
was
was.
that was part 10, right? That was WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, you.
I
Oh yeah, he was on 10.
They had like
Jonathan Taylor Thomas was on
a
11.
girl from the Special Olympics singing the.
Hey.
national anthem.
No, this is G
That
rated.
was
This is
that
Garrett.
was
I'm
an
just saying, like I always
That-
remember
it was-
that too.
Bro,
Like,
it was a Special Olympian. What do you mean?
well, yeah, it's sort of a big deal. But the Allied
do it.
Powers
Yeah, that's not good.
versus the Blue Brothers.
Eli, is that Eli and Jacob?
with Uncle Zebekiah.
Well, buddy, that's where it's at.
Now, was the Blue Brothers, was that like the Harris twins? That
Yeah.
was 8 Ball and
Yeah.
Skull and the
Yeah.
DOA and all that? Okay.
Mhm.
This
They were
was
in
like
ECW in like the 94 is
the Undertaker wrestling
What's it
King
called?
Kong.
Yeah, that's what I was
Bundy,
saying. Like that match is right up there with some of the worst he ever had.
The fucking smoking gun. Who the hell liked the smoking
Nobody.
guns? Even when I was a kid.
It's like who's better than
It's like-
Canyon? Nobody.
Oh, he's got a signed smoking gun.
All right.
And
what we
whoever
doing?
gave a shit about Bob Backlund too.
I just want to
Come
put that
on,
in
you like
there.
I don't have a
How
Bob
about
Backlund card.
Of course. Be
who
killed if
did
you whip
didn't
out
the
fucking-
guns? Did the guns fight? Was it X-Pac and Holly? Was that one?
Let me look to see.
It was shit. I was just looking at it.
Now, who'd you say again?
Owen Hart and
Was it
Yokozuna.
1, 2, 3 Kid and Bob Holly?
No, it was
versus the
Owen
Guns?
Hart and Yokozuna.
Not.
Oh.
Yeah, Owen Hart and Yokozuna. That was Camp Cornette at the time.
Camp Cornette. Yeah.
I got a text from Mark. He says he's still at work. What the fuck are you doing, Mark? At work at fucking
Somebody cigarettes.
11 something at night.
Ugh. So we're getting ready to, though, I think, in my opinion, to hit like a run of really killer WrestleManias.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
this
agree.
was when they
Finally.
were starting to kind of
Well-
turn things around a little bit.
Yeah.
I think this was the year.
So WrestleMania 12, though, is the 60-minute Brett and Shawn Iron Man match. It's the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Piper and Goldust. It's a lot of pretty fucking killer.
Diesel
Matches.
and Undertaker.
Yeah.
Warrior and Triple H.
Yeah.
Well, that's on here too, yeah.
Well, it was kind of a
You ever-
risky
you
move
ever heard
to
the
do
story
the
about
Iron
that,
Man
by the way,
match,
Gary?
though.
What?
You ever heard the story, like as Warrior tells it about that match,
Yeah.
where he's like, Triple H comes up to him, is like, because Triple H really wasn't Triple H at that time, but
Right.
he was like, I just saw him as some piece of crap jobber, dude. He said Warriors, he was like, Warriors back and everybody else is just a bunch of jobbers. And like, he was
Yeah.
trying to like tell me like he was going to get stuff in on me. And we're not,
Or
We're
is
not
it, yeah,
doing
that's
any of
fine. I'm
that.
just not going to sell anything. so
yeah,
do
I'm not going to say
whatever
anything.
To
You're gonna
me,
get squashed.
My favorite match on this is the backlot brawl that Popper and Goldust
Yeah.
did.
So
Because, like, the Iron Man match is great and everything, but like that's not a rewatchable match. You watch that one time and that's good enough because it's 60 minutes. If
Well,
you're
let me-
not really watching it live, it doesn't
If
work.
I
I'm not
love
mistaken,
that
man,
match.
let me ask you. I do too. Let me ask you: is this like not one of the? I think this is one of the only Iron Man matches that's just like one fall. Because it like most of them are like they
Well,
go 3 fall. But
Yeah,
like,
I think
this is
I think
2
it
out of
was
3.
one fall, I believe.
Yeah.
And then
This
at the
went
end,
like
they had
60 minutes,
overtime.
and then like there was one fall that actually decided it, which was
not
the
in the
kill.
60 minutes. It was so they went to
Overtime,
0-0
Yeah,
draw,
sudden
and then they went
death
to
or
overtime.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you always have the same shit in these. Like it always ends up one fall, and the other person gets a fall, and then you have to go like to the.
But what's funny, something to remind me, because so this is the time, Jose Lothario was coming after Sean, was training him and all that. Jose Lothario reminded me of this video that Wes did back in 2010 at the first Darkwoods, where he was going around asking everybody their favorite wrestler. And you guys remember Pac that worked with Joe?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
so
yeah.
So you asked him, and he said his favorite wrestler was Jose Lothario. I'll never forget that.
He must have watched wrestling back in like the 60s.
Yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
12 was cool, man. It was a good one. I mean, what else did you have there though? I mean,
It's not.
you
There's
had,
not
you had
many
Austin,
matches.
but what was Austin versus Vega, right? In like a strap
Yeah.
match, I think.
I mean,
It was
that was
before. Yeah.
I
6
think that
matches
was
on the
a
actual
fun
pay-per-view.
feud that Austin and Savio Vega had. I mean, because
Mm-hmm.
they did like one match at In Your House where it's like a lights out match or something like that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, Savio Vega, I think Stone Cold has said this in the past too. He credits him a lot for kind of getting his career started in that
I
Stone
fucking
Cold
hated
character.
Savio Vega though.
They
I did
built him
too.
up pretty good though. He was all right. I mean, I think remember he came out as after Quang, and all of a sudden Razor Ramon was like, he was my toughest competition
He was like
in
Razor Ramon's buddy
Puerto
in
Rico or whatever. So he
Mhm.
already put him over as like this big like star from like the
Didn't
island
they
or
have
whatever.
like, was it King of the Ring 95 where Savio wrestled like 4 fucking times?
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, Savio Vega was always the wrestling figure that was left over whenever we would go
Right.
to find these Jacks figures.
Los
He was
Barricos,
always the one.
Savio was like,
Well,
You could find a million of them.
I know I'm jumping ahead, but do you know right before WrestleMania 14 when Stone Cold was going to be fighting Shawn Michaels at that? So the In Your House, I think it was the first ever No
when
Way
he was
Out.
the surprise entrant. Or
Where
whatever.
so when instead of Shawn teaming up with Triple H and the New Age Outlaws, they had Savio Vega replace Shawn.
And it was like the whole night that like, who was the guy that's gonna replace Shawn Michaels? And at the end, you feel like
I would not
the
build that.
That's
was
not
funky.
wrestling.
And I get Savio, and I'm like, that's what
That
I've been
was
waiting
so-
for this whole.
Man,
Yeah.
I think that was one of the first ever pay-per-views that I bought to watch to, and I was so pissed off. It was Savio Vega.
All right, where are we putting 12 though? Good.
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 All right.
So WrestleMania 13
Oh no, this is not good, right?
in Chicago.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
WrestleMania
Taker
13. Yeah. It's also
I mean,
got
it did have some.
I don't
Stone
mind it.
Cold,
They're
Bret Hart
celebrating the.
submission match.
Yeah, that's a
Oh, that
Wanna
was the Brett one. With,
be the
with
match
Shamrock.
Brett Stone Cold
the
is
Hall
getting
of Fame
inducted
this
in
year,
the Hall of
yeah.
Fame. Yeah.
Then the street
This is-
fight was pretty good with Nation
Yeah.
of Domination and Legion of Doom
Ahmed.
and Ahmed.
Yeah, I was going to
Bring the
mention that was for sure one of the most memorable matches I remember from this, aside from Stone Cold and Brett. But there's also an interesting thing. Like if you watch during that street fight in that 6-man tag, CM Punk and Colt Cabana are like in the front row because it was in Chicago that year.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I loved Ahmed Johnson. It was.
I don't hate
I still
this
love
one.
Ahmed.
It's
It feels
not-
different though, doesn't it? Like it doesn't feel. It's not that it's bad, but it feels. This is kind of where the tide was turning. It feels a little more raw, I think. At this
Yeah.
point.
Well, just the main event between Sid and Taker is just, I don't know. I don't really think much of that match. to be honest with you.
Again, another Sid in WrestleMania that like
super chat from Carter. Brett versus Austin is the greatest Mania match of all time.
That's debatable. I would put it up there as one of the maybe top 5, but
Dude.
I don't know.
I'm asking you guys to go back and watch the Survivor Series 96 match and tell me that that's not like I think that's better than that Mania match, man.
It's
Honestly.
good.
Yeah, it just,
I mean,
it just doesn't have that
that
epic
end.
blood. Like when
Yep.
when he was in that sharpshooter with the blood. I mean, I can remember being at my friend Sean's house in high school, and you didn't see that a
Yeah.
lot back then.
Well,
it
it
was
just-
a huge moment.
it just goes back to what I was saying. Like the as far as a technical wrestling match, yeah, the Survivor Series '96 is definitely better in that aspect. But just going back to what I was saying about whole storytelling, I think there's better storytelling in the WrestleMania 13 match because
It
that's
had
where
a
we
better
got.
build too, because like you
Yeah.
got to remember Survivor Series, Brett was just coming back from this is his first match back from Mania,
Mhm.
so they didn't really have time to really build. Like I think he was just Stone Cold was just calling Brett out.
Yeah,
at that
and
point.
Stone Cold was pretty much because Brett wasn't appearing on TV leading up to that match in '96, but so Stone Cold was pretty much carrying that feud by just shit talking Brett every week.
WrestleMania 13 though, real quick, because
I don't know
could
where I'd
say-
put this.
I would have to
Average?
rewatch this one.
I don't know. I have to say good.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
I would
that
say
match
Z-Man good.
brings it up to good. Like that, it's got a classic match on it, but I don't know.
what was
What
the main
the hell
event?
else is on it?
Sid and
That's a very
Taker.
important. Yeah, it's a very important moment, though. I mean, if you think about it, like the whole.
Well, it's
Austin
This
creation
was the
of Stone
transition
Cold,
to
really, in terms
Attitude
of, like-
Era from here.
Yeah. It
yeah,
depends on how you
this
want to
was
look at
definitely the transition show.
Yeah, that whole
Yeah.
double turn is just legendary, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would put it. Let's put it in good. I'm gonna watch this tonight. I think when we're done.
it. All right.
And I would
Yeah.
also put Mania 14 kind of right beside of it because it's kind of a
Mania-
continuation.
Mania
I
14 is
think-
actually really
Oh,
good.
yeah,
Mania.
I
I
think
do.
it's
You
a
had
little bit
Michaels-
better.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's better. Yeah, I mean, you had
Well,
Triple H and Owen. You had Michaels and
The-
Austin.
Austin, you
I
had
don't know if I
Undertaker
would
and
put it
Kane.
cream of the
Yeah.
crop though.
Undertaker Kane. That's the number
Dude.
one thing I remember from 14 because
Cactus Jack and Terry Funk versus the Outlaws was a really memorable one too.
It
yeah,
was.
they
I
had.
mean,
it was
there's
a
a lot of-
strong
Yeah.
card. It was a very strong card with some solid storylines going into it.
And
for
who
sure.
doesn't remember the Tyson shit too? I mean, that was the
Yeah.
best wrestler. I mean, that's
Coats down.
legendary.
The
you know?
mainstream, like WWF, was getting more in the mainstream around this time period too. And I think that they had recently started beating Nitro in the ratings, or it was coming very soon. It
Well, that was
right
in
around this time.
'99 when they beat Nitro because I think they Nitro beat WWF out like for the entirety of '98. I'm pretty sure.
Who did Shamrock face at this one?
That's a
Was
good
it-
question.
The Rock.
It was to say, was it Rocky?
It was the Rock versus
Ice-T?
Shamrock for the Intercontinental title. But the whole Undertaker Kane
Taka
thing, like,
Michinoku versus Aguila.
That was a shit one too, right?
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
Undertaker
man.
and Kane had some of the best matches or anything that ever was. But as far as creative storytelling, I think that's the greatest story ever told in wrestling. Is Kane
And think
and
about that.
Undertaker.
Think about how far into Taker's career that appeared, right?
Yeah.
He was around for
I
so
mean-
long, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, you're gonna have a brother," and that storyline took him for another like 2 years.
The
And the
artist
thing-
formerly
Just on
known
that.
as Goldust was on the
The-
show.
The thing that made that story so entertaining was Paul Bearer and how he reacted to everything and how he told that story basically for Undertaker and Kane. Is amazing.
And I'm sure backstage when that was presented, there's probably a lot of people that were like, "There's no way this is gonna work."
So where we
You know,
putting
that
it?
randomly
Though?
Taker
I
has a brother, and
I got no problem putting this in like cream of the crop, but I'll put it in good too. But I think it's
Yeah, I
better
would
than
say it's good. I mean, I don't know if I would because I don't know. There's just part of it. It's still like that whole battle royal, the tag teams. It was the return of the Road Warriors or LOD 2000. I don't know. I never got into the whole LOD 2000
I
character.
don't think too many people.
nobody did.
it
Yeah.
didn't last long enough to get into it, anyways. I think.
Did anybody ever get into anything that had 2000 in it? Like, remember that Techno Team 2000? They had like, what was the Midnight Express
WrestleMania
2000 or something like that? Or
Midnight Express 2000
They
with like
had
Bart
some,
Gunn.
yeah, nobody ever got anything that had 2000 in it. So let's put it in good. Move on.
Yeah.
All right, 15.
I was-
Dracula 2000.
I was looking at 15. They had the Butterbean and Bart Gunn Brawl for All match
Yeah.
at 15.
15 is one of the ones that people always say is one of the best, right?
So 15 is Stone Cold and The Rock in their first, which wasn't that good of a match. The other two were better in my opinion. Then you've got Undertaker where he murders the Big Boss Man.
I
You remember that?
They hang him and the Brood, hang him from
Yeah.
the Hell in a Cell.
You got fucking Shane versus X.
European
Well-
Championship match.
See, I really liked the story. The match wasn't great between Shane and X-Pac, but I loved the story leading into that. And then just that's when Triple H turns heel on X-Pac and helps Shane, and he joins the corporation. So it really developed, beyond that. with
I
that
think
story.
that's the problem though. Like,
Hardcore Holly was on this show.
How do you
like me now?
how do you like me now?
How we
I always fucking hated Hardcore Holly.
What about Crash Holly? How you feel about him?
That
I
story
like-
with Hardcore Holly wanted them
Man,
him to beat Rock
the
and get all
Houdini
those.
of hardcore, Crash Holly. I mean, when he was getting chased by the headbangers through like a Chuck E. Cheese.
It's been a long time since I've watched WrestleMania 15, but just looking at the card and everything on here, it's not one that I would want to really go back and rewatch.
I don't think it's as good as 13 or 14. I really don't.
Yeah,
Maybe-
it's
Maybe
not,
I'm thinking
but-
of 17 as the one everybody
well,
likes, right?
17.
17 is the
best.
one everybody
Oh, okay,
likes.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm getting.
One of the
That was
best.
kind of the peak of the Attitude Era right there. But yeah,
So I would put this one at honestly like Z-Man level,
yeah, I think it belongs.
Yeah, I think
if not
that's fair.
further down.
Yeah.
All right, WrestleMania 2000.
Shit.
That was the 4-way, right?
This is awful, man. A McMahon in every corner, if you remember
Well,
that.
yeah.
Like,
That was the big.
That
main
was the
event.
gimmick.
Big Show and Foley and all that
Jeez.
stuff.
yeah.
Check this out, what I got here. This is the WrestleMania 2000 book.
That's pretty killer, though, honestly.
The game WrestleMania 2000 was way better than the actual pay per view.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah,
was
that's
cool.
true.
Who was missing in that one? Was it Austin? Was he not there?
The
I think
Fatal
he was
4-Way was
hurt.
Triple
This-
H
that's when he got
versus
ran
The
over by
Rock, Foley,
Rikishi
and Big Show. Yeah.
So he missed Mania because he got ran over by Rikishi?
at Survivor Series the previous year. Yeah,
Bull Buchanan was in a fucking WrestleMania
I
match.
think.
But what was the real reason that he wasn't? Was he really
he
hurt?
had to have
neck-
surgery.
Neck surgery, I think. Right?
This was not the Owen Hart one, right?
no.
No, that
I
was
mean, this is-
SummerSlam '97.
This was like a culmination of like a bunch of shit that had happened to him over the years.
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say it wouldn't have made sense that he wouldn't have been in this main event.
This
But-
also has
So he had-
Angle versus Jericho versus Benoit.
Yeah, I love that match because
That's a great match, by the
all
way.
Yeah,
match.
it's a great match.
The first
Triple
fall
H.
is the first fall is for the Intercontinental title, and the second's for the European title. And Kurt Angle gets fucked out of both titles.
That's right.
You had Triple H with Stephanie, The Rock with Mr. McMahon, Mick Foley with Linda McMahon. That's fucking death. And the Big Show with Shane McMahon. And that was
Yeah.
a 38-minute match. Is what it
It's
says
not
here.
it's not great either, but like I think a lot of the preliminary matches here, or the ones that come before the main event, are the better matches. I think that triple threat between Benoit, Angle, and Jericho is great. Then this is one of the triangle ladder match between Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys.
Oh
I mean, it's that's
Was
I
this the
think that's-
first one, basically TLC?
Wait,
no, I think
that's-
this is the second one. I'm pretty sure.
How could we forget about TNA
Isn't that 17? I thought
testing-
17 was the-
testing Albert versus Head
You're
Cheese?
right. 17, but 15 is the one that it's just the ladder match. They don't have like the TLC match till 17.
Oh,
I
okay.
think.
The ladder match was great too, though. That
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
one.
it's really good.
Man, this
I'd put this Z-Man maybe. I
I
don't think
would
it's
too. I don't
terrible.
think it's very good.
what about that doesn't work for me, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I would honestly be willing to put it there.
Yeah, it's so either one of those would be fine. 'cause
The
it's-
main event, 38 minutes for that bullshit.
bullshit. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we get to the one that everybody always talks about, and there's a reason because this is Rock versus Austin Part 2.
and
It is
Limp
great.
Bizkit is the theme song.
New Biscuits, the fucking he's rolling. Undertaker versus Triple H, the TLC match that everybody always talks about. Angle versus
Yeah.
Benoit.
Mhm.
I mean, it's pretty much
Top to bottom, it's
Top to
pretty
bottom,
great.
amazing.
Yeah, and every time that Angle and Benoit had a match with each other, it was awesome every single time. And I think Angle has went on record to say that his best matches he ever had in his career was with
Had the
Benoit.
gimmick battle royal on this show too, with like
Oh, that's
is
right.
that the one with all the like Hillbilly Jim and everybody
the
came out?
Bushwhackers were on
Yeah, with
there.
Or
Iron
like,
Sheik ended up winning.
Iron
I
Sheik
think.
would hobble to the
Tugboat.
ring.
No, shut
Iron
the-
Sheik won, yeah. Kamala
Iron
was
Sheik
out
won.
there. Yeah.
The Goon.
See, I liked that at the time. I was like, this is awesome. Like all these old guys
Wasn't the
coming back.
Gobbledygooker also in that battle
Yeah.
royal?
I think so, yeah.
Well, the sad thing is when you watched that gimmick battle royal and everybody came out, you were like, oh my god, everybody looks old. And then like
Right
a lot
here's-
of those guys like ended up wrestling like
They were
so
like
much
40
longer.
or something at the time.
Yeah,
somewhere.
like, you look back at it now and you're like, holy shit, they were all like in great shape back then, really.
Yeah, so, and listen to the participants in this. There's Iron Sheik, Hillbilly Jim, the Bushwhackers, Duke Drozy, Doink the Clown, Nikolai Volkov, Tugboat, The Goon, Earthquake, Gobbledygooker, Brother Love, Michael Hayes, One Man Gang, Kamala, Kimchi, Jim Cornette, Repo Man, and Sergeant Slaughter. What a lineup.
Yeah, I remember Repo Man too. For
I
some
think
reason.
I heard the Iron Sheik. The only reason he won is because he couldn't take the bump over the top rope. They said.
Ah,
that makes
by
sense.
default.
Yeah,
Okay,
they did really bad
I put this in cream of the crop though. If
Yeah,
I'm being
same.
honest. I don't think you can.
I mean,
not.
it's pretty much known as like one of the very best WrestleManias, maybe the best. And
Well, I mean,
it has that epic feel to it too when you watch it. I mean, you can tell this is
God.
a big event.
that promo that video they made with the Limp Bizkit over that video between Stone Cold and Rock. I mean, it's just that's got to be like the best promo video ever made leading up to a match at Mania. It really gets you pumped up, man. I think, and
Is
just
this right when they bought WCW as well? Because
Yeah, I think
around
it was
the
like
time.
the week after, maybe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A week or two after.
Because let's see, what was the date on this? Because Nitro's last episode was March 26th, 2001. Okay, this took place on April 1st, so it's just a
Yeah, so
few
remember,
days.
like I think wasn't Shane McMahon up in the balcony with like a couple WCW guys watching
Yeah.
this?
They
Yeah.
were in Skybox or something with like
Yeah, okay.
Mark Jindrak
Perry
and
Saturn.
Hair and people like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
showed them when
Booker
they had
T,
like
I think
a
was up there, maybe.
it had the little template that showed up. It said WCW wrestlers,
With
and like,
the new WCW logo.
and I
Was it
think
on there?
Sean Stasiak was sitting up there. Mike Awesome was up there.
Well, they couldn't have screwed that up. That still makes me mad even thinking
It
about
is.
it.
It's pretty bad. Yeah, how they fucked that up.
This next one, though, man, like I would almost automatically put it at the cream of the crop just for the Rock Hogan match.
But yeah, that's
That wasn't the main event either. But this is
No.
one of those examples where we were talking about this earlier, Crater, where like that kind of took all the gas out of the
Yeah.
crowd because that was like right in the middle of
And
the
it
show, and like everybody popped for that so much that they were kind of tired.
What was the
by the
main
time
event?
the main
I forget.
event-
Triple
The main
H?
event was
Triple H and
Triple H
Jericho.
and Jericho. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
And honestly,
Oh,
the
man,
feeling of
those
the
poor
crowd
guys.
and the atmosphere of the Hogan and Rock match was very similar to the Andre Hogan match, I think.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
insane. Like I've never seen that stare down at the beginning of it where they were like kind of looking to the sides, and like the crowd was going nuts.
it's
Like
insane.
that was
Like I tell
Yeah.
you, I love when I hear like stories about that match. If you got different wrestlers that talk about, it, but I hate hearing Hogan talk about it because it doesn't feel any different from any other match he's putting over.
I hate hearing
I
Hogan talk about just about anything though, really. We're being honest.
Because
Except
like
his real American beer, brother.
because when you when
Drink
he
it,
talked, when he was, I was watching this thing where he was talking about WrestleMania 18 in that match, and like you don't know what to fucking believe when he's talking about it. So I don't know. It's,
Okay,
I
another
think I had
match.
heard that The Rock was wanting to pretty much plan out the entire match, and Hogan is like, "Look, we're going to call it in the ring, brother." That's what I'd heard.
Makes
Right?
sense,
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah, that's true.
Because like
It makes sense though, because Hogan being old school, he's probably like, "What the fuck is this guy doing? I'm not gonna memorize all this shit." He probably just flows.
He only
Like
has
a
to
lot of
memorize
those
like
old-
4 moves though.
nobody really knew what the
It's
crowd would react, what would the crowd would be like though, because at the time, look at all the shit that Hogan did to The Rock. Like, didn't he fucking like
Yeah, they
crashing
was-
with an 18-wheeler or something like
Yeah.
that. And,
They tried every way in the world to make him a heel, and it just
Yeah.
didn't work.
and
I mean,
yeah,
it
it didn't
just-
work.
It's insane because and when you mentioned that, Aaron, about earlier about like this one of those matches, just kind of taking stealing the thunder from the main event. This is always the first one that I think of. The second is probably Shawn Michaels and Undertaker.
That's exactly the next one I was going to bring up. Yeah,
But yeah,
except
this is
that
always,
main event in that one has a much worse main event when we get to it. Like,
and Triple H was also in that main
Yep.
event too. He got fucked twice.
I think I would put X8 at cream of the crop as well, though.
It's got to be in
Well,
good
I
at
tell
least.
you,
it's also got Austin Scott Hall, by the way, which is the one where he does that amazing stunner sale and
Yeah.
everything that everybody always replays.
I kindly agree with Wes on this because
Undertaker and Ric Flair was really good too, I think.
Yeah, and
Tanker.
is this the one or was it 17 that had the triple threat hardcore match between Kane, Big Show, and Raven?
That was this one.
That's one of my favorite hardcore matches. I mean, I thought,
it was Maven, Goldust, and Spike Dudley.
oh no,
Oh,
then
man.
I'm thinking of 17 then. So because
Okay.
it was a triple.
Is that
threat
the one
for
where, which is the one where they went into like the back and like we're going through glass and shit?
Yeah, that's when Kane throws Raven
Okay.
through that plate glass window, and Kane's driving that fucking forklift, and he raises.
Yeah,
Big
in the
Show.
backstage area. Yeah,
Yeah,
That was
it's
a good one.
awesome.
All right, so where are we putting?
I don't know.
18.
Somebody tell me.
I
don't give a
think
shit.
Okay.
good or cream of the
All right.
crop, either one.
Okay.
Okay, here's where things are going to start to get a little
Right.
rocky for me.
Now
I'm like,
shit's
what the hell
starting
was
to-
on 19? Yeah.
Nothing good.
I
There's-
wouldn't say nothing. Jericho and Shawn Michaels is pretty good.
Oh, it's that one. So this is the
This-
one with Angle and Brock, right?
Yeah, where Brock almost broke his neck.
And this is also the one with
If-
Triple H and Booker T with that horrible fucking angle where they
Oh
buried
yeah.
Booker T.
If
Well,
Brock
yeah, that
hit that
sucked.
fight, that shooting star press, this would have gone down in history as one of the best endings of a WrestleMania.
Man,
I don't
that
like this one at all, to be honest.
I forgot about that till you mentioned that, but the whole Triple H and Booker T story, I mean, like it set it up perfectly for Booker T to win that, and for him to lose, it just makes Triple H look a piece of shit.
He was a piece of shit at that time. I mean,
What a
he might have-
match.
Now he owns the company.
Yeah.
Undertaker had a triple threat handicap match with Big Show and the A Train.
Oh yeah, because remember Nathan Jones like wasn't
Yeah,
ready to work.
That's right.
Oh.
It was supposed to be a tag match, and then something happened with Nathan
Wasn't-
Jones, and yeah,
And
Wasn't
this was Hogan,
the Hogan
and
McMahon?
Vince?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Street
and
Fight.
yeah.
Was this Goldberg and? No, it could have been Goldberg. but
No,
that was later.
Goldberg.
That was
didn't
next.
until
That's
after
20.
night after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so
I would
This
say
was,
this one's Z-Man level for sure. It's got Z-Man level written all over.
I mean,
I
This-
put it in the not the drizzling shits, but I'd probably put it in.
well,
the
no,
one
is
right
this
above.
also got Guerrero Benoit, or is that later?
No, that's-
no.
Wait, that might be this one.
Guerrero and Benoit. I don't think they ever had a match at WrestleMania together.
Oh no, what am I
maybe
thinking?
right.
I'm thinking of
Benoit,
when Guerrero.
Rhino, and the Los Guerreros and Team Angle had like a
Oh,
triple
okay,
threat.
I'm
tag
thinking of
match.
Guerrero and
the Mania
Angle
that
is
Benoit won
next.
the belt.
Oh, 20 you're thinking of, Garrett.
Okay.
So
Um,
okay, what are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, I also think
I would
that
say Z-Man maybe.
this was the last Rock and Stone Cold match too, and this is Stone Cold's pretty much his retirement match from regular
All right,
wrestling.
I'll put it in there for that
But
alone.
but yeah, it's a pretty good match between those two.
That was the one in Seattle at like the big outdoor.
Yeah, it was outside.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever went back and rewatched that show since it happened.
I mean,
You know what's weird though? I don't
know.
know about you guys, but when we're talking about these, I remember exactly where I was. I was at my friend Eric's house watching this. Like, it's just
Yeah.
weird that like, as soon as you
I'm
bring
like that
something like this up,
sometimes,
I knew
too.
exactly where I was, which is wild.
WrestleMania 20. This was, yeah.
I was at my
also
friend Eric's again.
Madison Square Garden. And it's the
I like-
WrestleMania that doesn't exist anymore, basically. Like the
Yep.
main event.
Yeah, basically.
I'll tell you what I do remember about this, aside from that shit, though, is this is the return of Dead Man Taker too. He was
Yeah.
doing the badass gimmick for this is like where he comes back as like the Dead Man.
Tanker.
Yeah,
I remember the Evolution Rock and Sock Connection match was really good on this. I do
Oh yeah,
remember
they had that comeback match, right?
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, I just think I don't know. It's very weird because this was at the time when Rock was like Hollywood. Well, he was Hollywood Rock, the one prior to this, but this is where he was really just like not active anymore on the roster.
Yeah,
had
he came back only just a one-off or whatever.
Yeah, a Playboy evening gown women's tag match.
Woo.
With Tori Wilson and Sable defeating Miss Jackie and Stacy
Miss
Kibler.
Jackie, I miss Miss Jackie, man.
Dude, she was
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the day.
man. Cruiserweight Open. Listen to this shit. Chavo Guerrero with Chavo Guerrero Sr., Chavo Classic, defeated Akio, Billy Kidman, Funaki, Jamie Noble, Nunzio, Rey Mysterio, Shannon Moore, Tajiri, and
God,
Ultimo Dragon. He had
Well,
like a
I didn't know
1 year
Ultimo
run.
Dragon was even
Well,
in WWF.
Yeah, so this
For like
was
a
just
year,
right.
I
This
think.
is right when he came into WWE. This was one of his very first matches, so definitely his first WrestleMania. And I'll never forget this because I was a huge Ultimo Dragon mark when he was in WCW, and when also like reading about stuff in like Pro Wrestling Illustrated from Japan. But in his entrance at this WrestleMania, he runs out, slides, and it's like
Oh, he
does like a
falls,
big-
right?
Yeah, and I was like, oh no! And then after
Yeah.
that, they didn't really do much with him after that.
He got the Shockmaster treatment after that.
I
Oh
think
my
he was in there
God.
for like maybe a year.
Yeah, not even that, probably.
I don't know why, but Ultimo Dragon never really got over. Like he had some matches in WCW with
love
Malenko, where like Malenko was like the crowd would roar for Malenko anything he did, and they would shit all over Ultimo Dragon. They wouldn't.
I just think he
respond at
looked
all.
like
Um,
he wasn't Mysterio, and I think that's what everybody thought he was going to be.
Well, I think that was funny you mentioned him because I always thought that was his best matches in WCW was against Rey Mysterio Jr. because there was a match they had at I think it's Hog Wild in '96, and then like later that year or maybe the next year at World War III, he had another match with Ray, and just they worked really well
So
together.
it's saying here that he debuted June of 2003 on SmackDown.
Yep.
And on April the 22nd of 04, he asked for his release.
Yeah,
so shortly
so-
after this show.
Not even a year, yeah.
He slipped. He's like, I'm out of here.
Going back to Japan,
I
finding
don't
Sonny Ono's ass.
I didn't.
Sonny.
Bloody Ono's kid.
Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, that was
That
awful.
match was
I remember
fucking-
because they were both leaving at the time, I think, right?
Oh,
This was the
I
last
remember them.
match.
Didn't they boo them during that
They booed
match?
both of
Yeah,
them.
because they wouldn't do anything. They just kept walking around, remember?
Undertaker and Kane. The main event, I don't really even remember it being that great anyway, to be honest.
I don't know. It's pretty
Been a while,
good.
Triple H.
It was pretty good, actually.
And who did Eddie beat? Eddie beat somebody
Kurt
else
Angle.
for a belt.
Kurt
I remember
Angle.
that one being really good.
I love the finish of that match where Eddie pulls his fucking boot off and rolls Kurt Angle up.
Where would you put it, though? WrestleMania?
Maybe Z-Man.
I would say good, but I'd be fine with the man.
All right. I would put it there. Now things start to take a turn because this is the introduction in 21 of big match. Yeah. Yeah. Get ready for that
Hey.
era.
You know, I was not crazy about that era as it was going on, but looking back on it now, I mean, it's I definitely respect it.
I still
Now,
don't
was
respect-
JBL was a main event here, right? Was it JBL Cena?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oy.
Angle
But
And then it
Michaels.
was
but that wasn't the main event of the like that was one
Aki
of the main.
Bono and Big Show in a sumo
But remember,
match.
you remember Taker and Batista had like a killer match when nobody expected it, kind of thing.
Well, that's at a later one. This one is Batista.
This is,
Triple H.
This is
Oh,
Orton.
okay.
Orton and Undertaker.
They had the first Money in the Bank match on this show.
Yeah,
Edge, Jericho, Benjamin, Chris Benoit, Christian, with Tyson Tomko.
Yeah, and like that match I mentioned earlier, like, this is one of the most memorable matches to me for this one is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. I just loved the lead up to that because they brought Sherry back, and Sherry came out there with Kurt Angle, and he was doing like
He sings sexy
Kurt.
Kurt, yeah.
I love that.
Marty
And then
Jannetty still can't walk.
it's awesome. I love it.
And the problem is like that was like a real dig because Janetti's like about to get his feet amputated now.
Yeah,
so they
that's
were
what it
basically just
was,
digging him
bro.
way back
Man.
then.
Yeah.
That's bad. I mean, I think
I don't
that
remember this one
one's
being like
It's
anything
not
I remembered.
average.
Yeah, I'd say Z-Man on this one too. Maybe either that or that doesn't work for me, brother.
I think I'd put it in doesn't work for me. I don't think it's as good as like 20 or.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. 22 is.
Bro, I think this one is one of the most underrated manias of all time.
We got Cena versus Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
You got Edge versus Foley in a street fight match. Michaels
yeah.
and Vince.
That was killer.
Mysterio versus Angle versus Orton.
Undertaker versus Mark Henry in a casket
Yeah,
match.
that was not that
Yeah.
right, but
This is the one when RVD wins the
I
Money in the
count
Bank,
thinks he
too.
can actually just fuck with people and put these horrible matches in there that we all forget about.
But dude, you had that Foley Edge with a fire and all that shit where they put him through
Yeah.
the fire.
It's
Then you had
amazing.
Vince and Michaels was a freaking bad. Remember how bloody they both were. Vince was on so much.
Yeah,
steroids
that
on
is
this one.
great.
And then Michaels
Edge
put the
and Mick
trash
Foley
can on
hardcore
Vince and like
match
dove
was
off the
good, too.
ladder with like an elbow on top. Like it was Michaels Vince was an amazing match to watch. 100% Vince's best match ever.
What's weird about this one though is that like right before the main event between Cena and Triple H, the match before that is this Playboy pillow fight match.
Hell
between
yeah,
Corey
it is.
Wilson and Candice Michelle.
God, I
that's
hate
an
both
odd
those.
place.
I hate both those women. They couldn't do anything. They never. Oh God.
On the pre-show, they had a 18-man interpromotional battle royal. Do you want to hear who all was on that?
Yeah, let's hear it.
yeah.
I can't wait.
Simon Dean,
It would
Big
be.
Daddy V,
Yep.
Rob Conway, Funaki, Lance Cade, Steven Richards, Matt Stryker, Super Crazy,
He's crazy.
Gold Dust, William Regal, Eugene, Trevor
Eugene.
Murdoch, Psychosis, Johnny
Eugene, that was a great
Nitro,
era.
Joey Mercury, Tyson Tomko, and the Road Warrior, which was a brief gimmick that I think Road Warrior
Animal.
had.
Yeah.
That kind of ruins the whole thing for me. Just thinking about that, man.
Yeah. But I tell you, like the Money in the Bank ladder match for this one, because I was a huge RVD fan at this time, and but just for him to win that match that year, then go on to face Cena at that one night stand that year was fucking killer.
We should do a whole show about them burying RVD. Like, that's a whole story in and of itself. That
Well,
I
that,
hated.
you know what would be a great show is talking about that one night stand show, because that was the first time that they really mixed in WWF guys with the ECW guys. So like, I still remember when Orton came out and the people were fucking pissed, and he was like, there were people like hitting him and stuff, and he was like so cocky. It was wild. That crowd back then. Remember Cena? They kept throwing his shirt back at
That
him
was
and
the
all this
best.
stuff.
That was one of the best matches ever, because like they just completely turned on Cena and hated him
I
the entire.
I think you're right though, Uncle Bill, about that. That would be a good show for the rise and fall of RVD and WWE.
Yeah, because I always heard Vince just never liked him and never got like the
so
gimmick or
weird.
anything.
But didn't he get popped like after he won the belt? Him and Sabu got pulled
drugs.
over.
Well, see
Yeah.
here, listen. Here's a story about that. So back before they brought ECW back to TV, in 2006 as a regular TV series through WWE, they were kind of like building ECW back up by doing these house shows. And I went to one of those in June. I think it was June of 2006, and this was after One Night Stand that year. So RVD was the champ, and he fought Big Show at that house show, and then CM Punk was there before he showed up on WWE TV. But that was the night after that event is when RVD and Sabu left and got pulled over for having weed and all kinds of other drugs in their car. And then right after that's when they took the belts off of RVD and fucked him.
Yeah, he was the world champ at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was over as Rover too at that
that
point.
was it too. After that, where we
the
putting this one,
Boogeyman and Booker T and Queen Charmel had an intergender handicap match.
I'm going to put it right there just because of that.
That doesn't work for me,
But
brother.
that whole feud between those two is hilarious, though. If you go and watch it back, because I just watched that. I've been watching like the Raws and Smackdowns here lately, and I got to that point, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like Booker T, he should have been in movies, man. Because he was
You put
so funny.
22 at doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, just based on that one match that
What the fuck?
CK was just talking about.
It's got
That's
some good.
honestly like one of the top tier manias I think of ever.
It's got some good stuff in it, but it also has like a lot of like what the
No,
hell?
it's got like one bad match, like Mark Henry versus Taker, and like
All
fucking-
right,
even
Garrett,
even
here.
Masters and Carlito
Here.
in that other match.
It's
was
Z-Man
good.
level.
Is this the WrestleMania where Mickey James, Trish had that match, and she like
Yeah.
grabs?
Oh, yeah, she's like-
crotch?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wait, that does bring it up another notch. Just put it in
Wait,
good.
is that this one though? I don't know. It could be. It might be. I think it is.
That's the one where
It
she's
better
like,
be.
it's like
yeah,
a
where she rubs her and then
pornographic,
licks
like
her hand. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's where she got basically like ostracized from WWE from doing that. I remember,
yeah.
like after that match, she was.
Remember she used to
gone.
wear when she first came out, she would have a thong on with like the mini skirt. They eventually had to change it. It's like,
Mickey
Like,
James was like around this time period. Jesus Christ!
that's what Cena was all over.
Yeah.
Remember him and her had a
I
big
don't
thing.
blame you,
Ooh,
man.
well,
God
before she was a
almighty.
wrestler, she would do like these adult photography stuff.
I
and
know,
so
I've
it's-
seen them.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw
think
her
everybody has.
insides.
Remember there was one back in the day. I don't even know if it was real or not, but I remember back in the day they had the Beulah ones.
I
Is that
saw what
real,
she ate
dude?
for lunch that day.
So,
Mhm.
have you ever heard that story? I read this in a Wrestle Crap book once, where all those pictures of Mickey James that were on the internet floating around. But apparently, Batista one time as a prank went and printed off every one of those pictures and posted them up on the wall at events like every night.
What a fucking
They'd get him thrown in prison now.
Fucking crazy.
I don't think you can
So
do
I
that
don't remember-
nowadays.
I'm gonna be
see him
honest with
now.
you.
It came back to haunt them now. Look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember 23 at all.
Well,
Like
this
I'm looking at these fucking matches and I'm just like, I
That
don't
was the
remember this.
one where I think it was Taker and Batista at that one, Shawn and Cena.
Yeah.
Um,
Khali versus Kane. Mr. Kennedy wins some bullshit.
What a
That's
shitty
when
Mania
Elijah
logo that
Burke
is
was
too.
there.
God.
you look and see here. 'cause
This
I
was
got
a bad
pulled up.
time, man. Like 2007, 2008, 2009 era was pretty
I can't-
bad.
Yeah, I can't stand anybody in this.
Is this who? Oh, so Taker. Okay, so Taker.
The Battle of the
Batista.
Billionaires match, hair versus hair.
Bobby Lindsay. Bobby. I got Bobby Lindsay by my side.
Oh, that's the one that where Trump was with Lashley.
Yeah.
So another interesting thing I was talking about earlier, the celebrities on WrestleMania. So Trump and Snoop Dogg hold the tied record of most appearances at WrestleMania.
That makes sense somehow.
They had the ECW originals versus the New Breed. Lord
Yeah.
God.
The New
yeah, that was
Breed.
bad, man.
Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon, Matt Stryker, and Kevin Thorne.
I'm telling you
Fucking
right
weird.
now, though, like 23 is pretty fucking bad. It
Great
just is.
Khali versus Kane.
Yep.
I think it's got a couple good matches, but
I
overall,
mean, Cena
yeah.
Michaels has to be pretty good. I remember.
I remember that big
Yeah.
Battle of the Billionaires thing was fucking shit.
It
Yeah,
was.
it
Yeah.
is
All right.
stupid.
So it doesn't work for me.
yeah,
I don't know. I'd almost think it was like
No, I think
Well,
we're getting to that like really soon.
I think that a couple matches saves it from that, but yeah, it doesn't work for me with
Wait till we get to
anymore.
27.
Okay.
God.
Oh god, yeah, that one is bad.
So 24 is Undertaker versus Edge.
That was a good match.
Yeah, it's a great match.
Big Show and Mayweather, which was like 1,000 times better than it ever deserved to be.
Had to
Um,
build it to it.
And I think I've only seen this one once.
And it has the Ric Flair Michaels retirement match, which
Okay.
might be one of my
Yeah.
favorite WrestleMania
Sorry,
You know,
matches.
this-
I love you.
Yeah.
Another little fun anecdote for all the physical media collectors out there. WrestleMania 24 was the very first Blu-ray that WWE ever did for
Oh,
WrestleMania.
I gotta have it then. I probably have it.
Yeah, I've got it.
I think though the main event wasn't even the main event was Orton versus Triple H versus Cena.
Main event here is Undertaker and Edge.
Oh, okay. It shouldn't have been. Well, I guess it was okay, but
Yeah, it's weird though, like because that match of Orton and Triple H and John Cena, that was just like 2 matches before the main event. So that then after that came the Floyd Mayweather and Big Show was in between those two.
they probably paid Mayweather so much they had to have somewhere at
yeah.
the top. Like
That makes sense though, you know. So I get it.
I mean, this is a much better show to
Well,
me.
this
than
was
like
the
23.
Did you mention the Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair
Yeah.
retirement match?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying. Like this
that
is
was
one
a
of my
great
favorite.
one.
But you had some odd ones on here too, like Kane and Chavo for the ECW title.
By this point, Kane's just wrestling whoever, man. Like
Well, that
this
was on
is
the
a bunch of
pre-show
bullshit.
too. Yeah,
All right, I'll let you guys choose. I'll be right back.
that was a 24-man battle royal. Who else was?
Well,
in that?
that was the battle royal for the number one contendership.
Yeah.
But then Kane faces Chavo. on the
Deuce and
actual card.
Domino. You remember Deuce and
Oh
Domino?
yeah, they were like the 50s, like
Yeah, the
Whatever.
Grazer guys.
yeah.
Well, Domino, I think, was like Snooka's son or nephew or something like that. I
Jim
think.
Duggan was in that match for some reason. Stevie Richards, Eliza Burke.
Oh my God, Alpha brings this up too. This is the match where JBL like kicks the dog shit out of Hornswoggle. I don't know if you
Yes.
remember that, but like he fucking punt kicks that guy
So
around that ring.
they're having
It's
this like
crazy.
they're having this convention in Pikeville later this year called Hollers and Heroes Con.
I saw that.
Hornswoggle's going to be there, and that's the very thing I was going to ask him about when I meet him.
How'd
So,
that feel,
yeah.
buddy? Get the shit kicked out.
God.
of
I
him.
mean, if
buddy.
you watch this match, it's like JBL wants to murder him. Really, like it's like he's got some sort of vendetta
Well,
against.
he did that same shit to Blue Meanie, if you think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, this is.
Looking at the card though, like, and the Undertaker Edge match was really great too.
Oh,
I
it's
do
awesome.
remember that one being great.
That's where they had that long entrance wait. It took Charles Robinson like
Where
2
he
minutes
ran
or
down,
something
yeah.
to run down.
Yeah, I would say I would say this was a pretty good one actually.
I
So
would
maybe-
definitely say
Yeah.
it's at least good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
maybe
agree.
good.
probably
Um,
high end of good too, if we're being honest.
That one was one that was out.
Not yet.
When that outside, that was like one of the
Yeah.
earlier ones that was outside.
Yeah, the stadium events or whatever.
Now I'm going to say that this next one's a really fucking mixed bag because 25 is the Undertaker versus Michaels first match.
Oh, man.
It's also though Triple H versus Orton.
Well,
Which
but
sucks
they, I
ass.
mean, well, just the crowd was dead for that because that took place right after Taker and HBK, and just they were just the after that match, the crowd was just drained, dude.
Yeah. But I mean, that's one of the best Mania matches I've ever seen. I remember watching it like when it was happening. It was like
Oh, it's
you
it's
could
incredible.
tell even then it was a classic. Like as you're watching it.
Because I want to say that I was far out of high school at that point when that happened. So, but I just remember like that was a turning point for me with that match because like I already loved wrestling, but just like after that match, it just like it increased like tenfold after that because that I'd never
think
seen a Shawn Michaels match like that.
I think the Michaels Taker, the first match was the better of the two.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, way
Completely.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to
But
top
I mean,
that. It was-
the rest of that card sucks. Like if you look at that card, man, from top to bottom, like it's pretty bad.
I don't remember a whole lot, honestly.
I remember the hype up for Orton and Triple H, but the match didn't live up to it at all.
No.
Like the
Oh.
hype up was great for it because like didn't he break in like Triple H's house or something like
Yeah.
that?
somebody
Orton did?
breaking in somebody's house and they,
Well, no,
Was this
Triple H broke into Orton's house.
Or there was some breaking in going, or maybe
Yeah.
Orton was stalking Stephanie or something.
was
right?
this the era where Orton had the shaved head? He was like licking Stephanie and stuff. Was that?
Yeah.
I think this is where he punted Vince, and then he like did the same thing to Stephanie, and then he like kisses her while like Triple H is
Oh, yeah,
handcuffed in
yeah.
the ring or something like that.
Yeah.
this is when he had the Ken Shamrock angle where he had like he'd lose control
Okay.
and like had intermittent explosive disorder or something like that.
Yeah, he was like the Viper.
That was the
and
one
had-
where he
looked-
knocked
Hey,
Stephanie out and stuck his Peter in her mouth.
But like I forgot about this match here.
Was that this one? All right.
So
That was how killer was that? What a heel move!
That'd be
It's
the
like-
big,
It's like
that'd be the biggest
it's
heel
like the
turn
boss.
ever. Yeah.
it's like his boss or whatever. Get over here.
So I forgot about this one match on here, guys.
Take
Like
this
until
mic.
I was looking at the card. So Jericho was in a handicap elimination match against Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper. But
I remember that,
and
yeah.
That
and so it's interesting because when he faces Roddy Piper and Snuka, it's kind of nothing special. But when
Yeah.
Steamboat gets in there, it kind of revitalized Steamboat's career.
Well,
there
he
for a
did. They
bit.
did another match. Remember, like after that,
Yeah,
like they brought him
Backlash,
back
I
in.
think. It was
He was
incredible.
insanely good at that time. He's like probably what 60 or late
he was
50s,
up
60s.
there for sure.
I mean, dude, I still remember watching that too and thinking that like this is insane. This guy's like doing all these
Yeah.
moves and like
Yeah, and he had
Wasn't
like
there something
the
weird
next.
too, where like he came out and did that, and he looked old, and like the next time he fought him, he had like a full head of hair. I'm like, what the hell happened here?
The next night on Raw,
Right.
didn't they have like a singles match, and it was just as good, if not
yeah, it was
better,
great.
maybe.
Yeah.
Was it on Raw? I remember them having another match at like Backlash or something.
Maybe it
like
was
that.
Backlash, but it was like shortly after.
Yeah, I think it was like the next month.
Yeah, then Mickey Rourke came out. Yeah, Alpha. I
Oh
remember that.
God.
Oh yeah, and at the Mania match, yeah, he did and punched out Jericho.
So WrestleMania, what was this technically? 25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really care about this one, but
I mean, just for like the Shawn and Taker
Yeah.
match.
oh, the
have-
Shawn and Taker. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to at least put it at good.
It put
I
it at good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a great thing, but that
And-
one match alone, like
Well, and just the stuff with Jericho and Steamboat too. I mean, that was really like unexpected, and still you think about that if you go back and watch it, it's like, wow, that really happened.
now this 26 is going to be another one too, where it's kind of like, so it's Undertaker versus Michaels 2, which
Mhm.
wasn't as good. Batista versus Cena.
Is this
Edge
the
versus Jericho, which yeah,
This
I
was the
mean,
one where Yoshitatsu won the 25-man battle royal on the pre-show.
Really? I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
Here he is. He's home.
Holy shit!
How many,
What's up, guys?
The
How
dealer.
many ounces of cocaine did you have to dispense tonight for some of these future ex-employees?
I plead the fifth on that.
Did you yell, it's cocaine? It's cocaine. That's gotta be cocaine.
Oh man, I'm looking at this tier list. You guys have been going wild tonight. I missed a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, you missed 26.
Well, I mean,
Mark.
yeah, there's about like 15 left or something.
Well, 25. Yeah. But now we're on Mania 26 from 2010, right? Is that right? 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Michaels and Undertaker 2
Electric
was
Yeah.
on
Boogaloo.
this one, which they put over a lot more than the first one, but I like the first
It
one
was
better.
still a killer match. It wasn't as good, but
Yeah.
it was still like amazing.
And it's super cool that they made that the last match too, the main event for this one. There's no title or anything involved, but there was definitely some stakes there.
Who the hell
Right.
is Slam Master J?
Slam
That was remember that group with like Festus? I think it was the other guy.
No, Jesse.
Yeah, it was.
Jesse.
Slam Master
Oh,
Jay.
Man,
I
there
think
was
he
some
doing
people. I was
some
just
kinda,
looking
like,
at people
random-
Baby.
that was in
Yeah, I
that
think he was
battle
doing like a
royal.
random like gimmick, like a little rapper gimmick.
26 to me is going to have to go in one of the bottom two. It was just not a good.
Yeah, I mean, like
Or-
that. The match between Taker and Shawn was really good. I mean, it wasn't as good as 25, but it just, I don't know. It kind of saves it from being drizzling shits. But also, there's that Bret Hart and Vince match where basically just the entire Hart family beats the fuck out
That
of
was
Vince.
just. I didn't really like that.
They shouldn't have
I
done
didn't
that.
No.
Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
I like anything Bruce Hart does because he tries to get himself over. He, like goes into business for himself every time. So it always makes me laugh.
They
'cause
did
it's
have
always
the,
been like that.
10 Diva tag team match with Alicia
Oh,
Fox,
God,
Lay
damn it.
Cole, Maurice, and Vicky Guerrero versus
Yeah, but
Beth
Natty looked
Phoenix,
great in that friggin' Vince.
Excuse me.
Eve Torres, Gail Kim, Kelly, and Mickey James.
Oh, they had a weird roster of women.
That's
That
listen,
many bitches in there, and that match lasted 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
That's about how long it needed to last from that card.
There was
That's
a
a-
really weird match in the middle of this card too, like because Triple H was in the middle of this card against Sheamus, and I get at that time Sheamus where they were really pushing him as one of their top guys because I think that was around the time that he had won the WWE Championship.
Yeah.
But it's just so weird looking back at it now, like Triple H and Sheamus like in the middle of the card, because was this at a time when Triple H's kind of popularity was starting to come down a little bit? I can't really remember.
I think
This
he
might
was
have been
like
the
cycling
transition.
on and off
Yeah.
of roids, like, and his physique changed like from week to week around this time period. I think.
He's still pretty
Yeah.
active for the next couple of years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I put this in that doesn't work for me because I want to save the drizzling shits for this next Mania. Because 27 is one of the worst fucking Manias ever. From
This
like,
I
one,
don't even
don't-
remember
top
the
bottom.
main event.
Is it because the Miz is in the main event?
Yes,
why?
Miz versus Cena.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
The Rock was
Undertaker-
like the host or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
other matches though?
Okay, Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler in a 30-minute match.
It's
A
terrible.
30
It is
minute
terrible.
match.
This one
Then you've
doesn't even
got-
deserve to be ranked at all. I don't think.
Big Show, Kane, and Kofi Kingston versus the Core.
Oh God, the core.
Was
There's
that
no
was like
way.
Wade Barrett and all
I
those.
saw
like,
the core in here. The core's in the
Nexus
chat. I
guys.
saw him.
Oh yeah, he was in
There's no
here.
way this is going anywhere except the drizzling shits for this match.
Yeah, there's. We don't need
Did
to
y'all
talk
hear
about
the great news that Ezekiel Jackson's making a comeback though?
Oh, good. I'm really looking forward to that.
That's man. I've wanted that for so many years now.
I
This
just saw
is the-
something recently. They did an interview with somebody? Was it Cody or something where he said he was in a match where like it was supposed to be like to get Ezekiel over and like someone messed up and like the match ended up going nowhere. It was like supposed to be his coming out party, Ezekiel Jackson, but like
Was it the Royal Rumble like 2000?
it was. He said it was a match where it was like maybe Daniel Bryan, Ezekiel, and someone else.
Oh,
versus-
okay, yeah, I know the story you're talking. It was a tag
And-
match.
Something happened where like the match had to end early and Ezekiel didn't even like get to do
We
anything.
need to do like if we do another wrestling tier show, we should do one on factions. I
Yeah,
think that would
but
be killer.
but you're
And
you're
Funny
talking.
as hell.
the
you're
League
talking
of
about-
Nations could be in there, and the Cold
Oh
War.
my God, League of Nations.
Yeah, this core.
Garrett, you're talking about the story where Ted DiBiase Jr. fucked up.
Yeah,
And then he said when they got to the back, like everybody was kind of pissed off, and
is the referee. Fuck
he
me over.
he said that
Y'all,
referee was trying to fuck on me.
Yeah.
y'all remember when Ted
There's-
DiBiase Jr. like embezzled a bunch of money from a church? That was a good time.
He
Yeah.
still never did get convicted of that yet. I don't
Oh.
think. Anyway,
But yeah,
so what's the
What is
next
that
one?
referee? Fuck me over.
27
Ezekiel.
is- are we on 20? Are we on
28.
I'll put
that.
that. Okay, so 28's the first Cena versus The Rock, the match
Yeah.
of a lifetime or something like that. If you remember that. Build up.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't
Yeah.
remember this.
Yeah,
event at all.
once in a lifetime. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this was their first.
Probably the
match.
only time I'll ever watch it too is that one time.
Sheamus
match
versus
was
Daniel
terrible.
Bryan.
Yeah, he
Under-
lost in like 8
Oh, that was like the
seconds or
2-second one or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Undertaker
this is,
versus Triple H again.
CM Punk versus Jericho. Yeah.
You guys think he should have stopped right there? Because that was the end of, wasn't that the end of an era match for Taker? That was the whole like build for him, like him and Triple H.
This was the end of the era match. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
they
had
all
Shawn
walked
Michaels
out together. So
Well-
yeah, like that was the perfect way to end the streak. I thought. He
I don't
should've
think that
stopped
he
there.
has a match next that's like, well, a couple years from there. That's him and Punk. That's not that bad.
That's 29. Yeah,
That's
I love
29?
that one.
Yeah,
That was
so
great.
like he probably should have stopped after that because it just really goes downhill.
Well, see, what's
Like-
crazy about that match is that Punk was originally supposed to beat the streak, and that's if Paul Bearer hadn't passed away, but he did, and everything changed.
Mhm. I'd heard
Uh,
a story that like Vince didn't want him to win, but Taker was like, "Yeah, I'm going to put him over."
this is a
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
I'm
time
sure that's
period,
true.
though. Team Johnny versus Team Teddy.
John
John Laurinaitis.
John
Oh, man.
Laurinaitis, fuck him.
People power, boys. God damn, that's the drizzle. That shows the drizzling shits.
Your arms looking
Yeah.
big today.
That's the fucking shit.
This
Um,
dude, this thing, I don't even know.
the Undertaker Triple H match with Shawn as a referee it's great as far as storytelling goes, but like the rest of these matches, like Big Show and Cody,
Ugh.
the whole Sheamus Daniel Bryan 18-second match,
Mhm.
Kane beats Randy Orton. I mean,
Punk Jericho wasn't terrible. That
yeah, I
was
mean the story for that was good. I thought that they had a pretty good
Yeah.
feud, but yeah, I don't know.
Nothing memorable on this show, really, though, right?
I'll put it in. Doesn't work for me, I guess.
Yeah, I would put it there. Yeah.
29 is another one where it's like it's Rock and Cena again. It's
Yeah.
Lesnar versus Triple H, was this awful fucking match. Fandango beats Chris Jericho on this
Yeah.
for some fucking reason I've never understood.
Was it his first match?
They were
too?
going to
Yeah.
push the hell out of
He wanted to
Fandango.
come
yeah.
over. Yeah, that's what it was.
Undertaker versus Punk.
That was great.
Yeah, I mean that's the one I always remember the most from his Undertaker and Punk.
That was the last great Taker match at Mania to me. Everything after that was pretty bad.
Oh my god, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, these couple manias right here for me are just so forgettable.
They
I feel like
are,
you might have
yeah.
like one
Generic.
decent match, and the rest are just like I've never watched them again.
It's like when WrestleManias started having that generic ass logo too.
Yeah, I
like-
mean that also I think doesn't help it either. Like
This
you look at this
carries-
board and
this
these
carries
next
on.
couple, it's brutal.
Yeah,
I think this one sucks too. Like I don't,
it does.
I don't see anything on here that's very memorable. Really.
The Shield matches, that was their first like big pay-per-view match. That was pretty good.
I mean, I wouldn't call this one drizzling shits, but I would put this one in.
I'll put it in.
this
It doesn't
one
work for me, brother.
Okay,
Yeah.
brother.
And you're gonna go through some really bad ones now. Like the next couple ones are not great.
30 had a really short card. That was like 5 or 6 matches, wasn't it?
I don't think that more than that because I was there. That was the one that I went to, and I mean, I had a lot of fun at it, but like watching it back, like it just kind of like made me depressed because I hated that Taker
Was
lost.
this the Daniel Bryan one?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I liked
thought
that.
this was pretty good.
Well, that's another reason I kind of got watched it back depressed because the whole thing with the little kid Connor who had like cancer or whatever was in the front row, and then after Daniel Bryan wins at the end of that, you know, he celebrates with Connor, and then like maybe like a month or two later or something, that little kid died. So yeah, it's
Connor.
I don't know, it sucks, man. But
Yeah,
the problem with
it's
this one is
7 matches. Yeah, it's pretty short.
the problem with this one is this is like the Lesnar Undertaker match too.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
so that is like one of the worst matches. Like worst ideas.
I remember the
In
Cena
general.
Bray Wyatt match being pretty good.
That was solid.
That
Just the
build
wrong
up to
person
that was
won.
good too.
I enjoyed that one, but I tell you, man, they don't exaggerate at all when they talk about like that the reaction when Taker lost at this one. Like, you know, I know WWE has been accused of like, you know, like editing their audio and stuff on live shows, but being there, like, it's no fucking joke. It was total silence in that fucking stadium.
Well, originally, too, like, wasn't this the year where it was supposed to be just Batista versus Orton in the main event?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fans went nuts and pretty much demanded that Bryan be in it.
Yeah.
Dude, Orton versus Batista would have been the fucking worst.
It would.
It would have been so
Sure.
bad, dude. Like
But
at that
I-
time too, like where Batista was at that point, like that would have been awful.
I think this one's pretty, for that era, I think it's pretty good, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alpha, I tend to disagree, man. I think if he needed to lose to somebody, it should have been against Shawn.
Yeah, I don't think I fucking hate
He
Lesnar.
should have lost to a young guy,
Yeah.
like
I agree.
whoever they
Like a
were wanting
Brand,
to.
maybe.
The biggest waste of that guy coming around that just
Yeah, it
went
would've been-
there.
I mean, they should have used it to build somebody new up, not just to give it to somebody who's
Yeah,
already established
Lesnar
strong,
didn't
you know?
need it. It
Punk
did
would have
nothing
been
for
a
him.
good, you know, I think Punk would have been good to
Yeah.
choose him, but it is what it is.
Where are we putting this one though?
I would say no worse than Z-Man level, but I would almost say
Good.
it was good.
I'd say good.
Yeah, it was.
This
I
might be
would-
the best one
either
for a
one.
while, I think.
said like I'm just kind of biased against it, I guess, because I was there and I had a lot of fun, so it's killer weekend.
31. God.
I don't even remember any of
This
these.
is the one
Cena
that
versus
Sting
Rusev.
wrestled in, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, this was the one outside where like it was like Sting versus Tripp, right?
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was the shits, man.
Yeah,
What the hell?
That sucks, man. For real. Like
Triple
like-
H like in the back, like Sting, I'm gonna go over. Like what sense does that make in any
I
of this?
always hated everything they did with
The
Sting.
fucking NWO
Every
come down there to
single
help
thing.
Sting too.
That's
Yeah.
the thing that pisses me off the most about it is that the NWO helped Sting. Like, how does that fucking make sense? This man spent 2 years fighting these guys, and and now they're just going to
Same
help
company,
him.
brother.
They were in WCW. It's
Oh
fine.
my god!
Yeah, it's all the same
I hate
events.
it.
He doesn't care about Wolfpack.
Sting's
or
my
whatever.
favorite wrestler of all time, though, so it bothered me immensely.
Brock versus Roman.
They had a killer segment on this with The Rock and Ronda Rousey. I do remember that. Like that was a pretty memorable.
Is that the one where Ronda
Stephanie
slams Triple H in the ring or whatever?
and Stephanie was there too, I think.
Okay. And is this the one where Seth Rollins, the heist of the century or whatever?
Yeah. That's the best part of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, the end of the show. That was pretty memorable. And I liked the was it the architect character that he had then or whatever it was?
I don't know if he was because Architect was when he was with the Shield, but I think he was it doing the Monday Night Messiah or something like that.
No, that was a little later. This was
Okay.
he was with Triple H and Stephanie at this time, and they were anointing him as the guy.
Yeah, I kind of liked that. He had a couple of flunky, Jamie Noble and somebody
Yeah.
else.
Oh,
As soon as he won the title, they started.
Joey Mercury.
Yeah, they started with that on Raw.
But I mean, as an overall show, I mean, I would say Z-Man level kind of. There's the thing with Sting was bullshit.
Yeah,
I'd put it lower than that. But
Taker versus Bray should have been amazing, but Bray was injured, so it was what it was.
It's not very memorable to me. You can put it wherever. I don't care.
stick it in my butt. Hold on. All right, here we go.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Dude. 32? Is that what we're on?
Now look at all these logos. They look so fucking generic.
They do.
I
They look
got-
awful.
No.
I
don't
can't
even know
remember
what this one
anything from
was,
32. I gotta look.
32 is Reigns versus Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Ambrose versus Lesnar in one of the worst fucking
Oh,
WrestleMania
God.
matches of all time. Styles versus Jericho. It's fucking awful, really. It should be in the.
I don't
director's
remember
cut.
it.
I think Styles
yeah.
and Jericho was pretty good because that was right when Styles was brought in, right?
Yeah, I don't even
Yeah.
remember that match. Honestly, I need to go back and watch it because on paper that sounds like a great match. But
I think that was a pretty good match. They did have that was the Zack Ryder's big moment winning the IC title. I do remember that.
oh yeah, well
Yeah, and the ladder
I
match,
do
yeah.
like that. Yeah, that was. a good match.
There's actually a League of Nations match in this, so by default it has to be the drizzling shit.
Yeah, sorry. It really does need to be anyway.
You know what's so funny about that whole League of Nations? Because they thought so high of that idea that they included it in that year's video game too as one of the storylines. And
It's gonna be great.
I'm like, what
That-
the fuck is this?
Thank
What
God
was that other
Kevin
group
Owens.
that they had for a while?
didn't
Like,
do that.
remember the Canadians or something? Was Test and Lance Storm? or
Oh,
something?
the Un-Americans.
Right,
Un-American.
yeah.
So this is
I
about
don't-
that. League of Nations, was that like Del Rio?
Yeah,
Rusev,
Rusev,
Sheamus.
Wade Barrett, I think.
So-
The
Del
fifth
Rio.
guy-
That's one guy you never hear about anymore.
It was
Unless
the
it's
fifth
like
guy
in the
was
wrestling.
supposed to
King
be
Barrett. It's his
KO,
team.
but KO was sick or something, so he didn't end up joining it. Thank
Yeah,
God.
he was sick already. He probably heard it. He's like, I don't want to be in that shit. I'm sick of this thing.
Oh my God.
The fucking battle, the Andre the Giant battle royal though. You want to listen to who all was in that?
I can't wait. Let's hear it.
Baron Corbin, Fandango, Damian Sandow, Shaquille O'Neal,
Holy shit, I don't remember that.
I do
Big
remember
Show, Victor, Diamond Dallas Page, Connor, Tatanka was in it.
Hey man.
Jack
Don't be shitting
Swagger.
on
R-Truth, Gold Dust, Curtis Axel, Adam Rose. You remember Adam Rose?
Adam
and the
Rose with the
Rosebuds?
rosebuds.
Talk. Rosebuds, baby.
Heath Slater,
Was this the one where,
Tyler Breeze, Mark
Did Mojo
Henry.
Rawley win this one?
No, that's
Baron
later.
Corbin won.
Oh,
My
my
God.
I think
God.
Mojo Rawley won the Battle Royal that year that Gronk, I think, hosted the show or whatever.
Oh God.
All right, so yeah, we've already ranked this one though, so we're going to WrestleMania 33.
which is also awful. Goldberg versus Lesnar,
Ugh.
Reigns versus The Undertaker, which was the
Ugh.
worst.
That was
It's
bad.
probably the worst one of the worst WrestleMania matches he ever had, other than like Giant Gonzalez.
I already know
Triple
where this is going.
Triple H versus Rollins, AJ Styles versus Shane. It's just wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a
remember
wonderful
that
year.
at all.
We got to mention Reigns actually beat the Undertaker again.
Yeah.
Which did nothing for his
Did
push. They were
absolutely
trying to
Nothing for
Yeah.
either one of those guys.
That's
yeah.
the only thing I remember from this WrestleMania is the Roman Reigns beating the Undertaker, and like I guess it's when is that when Taker like left his coat, his hat,
Yeah,
in the ring at the
Yeah.
end? Oh my god.
That's to me, that's a horrible fucking WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What about Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice?
Exactly.
Oh, no, that was this one.
Fucking
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I just saw a match on here that I forgot it happened at this one. This is probably the best moment of the entire event is when the Hardys returned.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was solid. That wasn't a bad match.
Yeah, that was
That
pretty
fatal.
good.
Yeah.
They started putting the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on the pre-show on this though. They had a 3-match pre-show on this. So this is when they were starting to really go like these shows were extremely long.
This is yeah.
Like the next 3 shows are just like 7-8 hours long, I think.
Carter says we're documenting Vince's mental decline right about now.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of agree with him on that.
Yeah.
This was a rough era for them, big time. Up until 2020, where they had like the no fans or whatever. It was
COVID mania.
I was out.
Yeah.
I think COVID helped them a little bit.
It
honestly.
did, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would put this one again no better than it doesn't work for me, but maybe even some shits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't even know, but I'm probably gonna put it in the drizzling shits.
Because at this point, all of them are like, okay, what the hell? This is like another throwaway show.
Here's
I
another
don't remember
one.
hardly anything.
Here's another one, man. 34 is Reigns and Lesnar. AJ Styles versus Nakamura. Undertaker versus Cena. It's like
14 matches on this show too.
Listen, that
Taker versus Cena. I have no recollection of that.
that AJ Styles and Nakamura match,
That
should have been
heel turn.
it should have been way better than what it was.
Yeah.
that was pretty bad.
Because those guys, when they were both in New Japan, they had a match at I think it was Wrestle Kingdom one year.
Was it 5
And-
stars, right?
Oh my god, it's one of the best matches I've ever seen. But the match they have at WrestleMania is like nothing compared to that. I mean,
Right.
it's very disappointing.
All I remember was that heel turn at the end. The crowd went crazy for that, but that was
And they like gave him that. It's like a gimmick that he was just hitting people in the nuts all the time.
yeah, I remember.
It was-
He did that to
I
Jeff
think
Hardy.
isn't this around the time though when all these manias are like hours and hours long? Like, and I really don't.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with the
Well, they had
matches.
2
on them.
different battle royals in this. They had a 30-man Andre the Giant battle royal, and they had a 20-woman WrestleMania women's battle royal, which I think wasn't that the one that they were going to call the Fabulous Moolah battle royal, and they had to change the name of it because
Yeah.
people were getting so pissed off.
Oh yeah. remember
oh,
Mhm.
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Jeez.
Yeah,
What?
34 is bad, man.
It's the battle royal era. There's so many of these shows where it's so many battle royals. It's crazy.
And we're on 34, right? Because I'm losing.
Yeah.
34. I mean, you could put this either one. Doesn't work for me or the Drizzling shits.
I'm
Because
putting
it's-
all these in the drizzling shits. They all suck ass. Nobody
Some of these
remembers anything
matches,
about them.
I don't even remember these. Like Daniel
either.
Bryan and Shane McMahon defeated Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I don't even remember that match.
No, neither do I.
So
I
somebody
remember
mentioned.
Strowman winning the tag titles with that little kid. That was terrible.
Oh my
Oh,
god,
God.
dude! I forgot
That's-
about that.
That's
That
their
was
show.
Was
A
that in the
referee-
show?
Yeah, there was a
Mhm.
referee at the time, John Cone. Apparently, that was his son,
Oh my
Uh,
God.
and it's
That was
that kid,
talk about. They kept building it up like, who's the mystery partner? And then like when that hit, you were like, what the fuck? I think it's
but
so
look at it
disappointing.
like if you look at it like this way, Nicholas is undefeated at WrestleMania.
That's
Nicholas.
true. Killer
They should
stab.
bring Nicholas back at some point.
35 is the first time a women's match ever main evented. It was Rousey versus Becky versus Charlotte was the main event.
Didn't they fuck up the
AJ,
finish?
AJ and Orton. Yeah, they did. We're getting to it.
They had 4 pre-match
It's an 8-hour show.
show. Yeah,
Oh my
4
God.
pre-matches.
You know, though, that lead up to the Becky and Ronda, that was
16
awesome.
matches.
Yep.
That was a great
16
build
match.
to that.
I
to that
I
event.
can't stand
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey. Anything that she
Me
does, fuck her, man. I can't stand.
I do remember that match being really good, though.
Yeah, I
She
mean, I
was kind of like Logan Paul before Logan Paul, though. She came in and she was really
Well,
good, and then just fucking
you know,
like started to suck
So
immediately.
she
after
was
that.
at one of those shows in Pikeville that I went, like house shows. I couldn't believe how tiny Ronda Rousey is. She's not very big at all.
Was
Very
it-
small.
was it the one where I think she fought Liv Morgan at it? Is that the one?
It
you're
may
talking
have
about?
been, yeah.
I
Just
think I was
seeing
at
her
that
in
one,
person, I was
too.
like, holy shit, she is
Yeah.
like tiny, man.
This is the one people are bringing this up in the chat. That this is Kofi Mania. This is the one where Kofi beats
Oh,
Daniel
God.
Bryan.
Brian.
Yeah,
I mean, that's cool, but it didn't amount to much of anything.
No,
really,
it
did
didn't do anything.
Funny story though. They had when Kofi Mania was going on, they had another show in Pikeville, right?
Yeah.
Kofi stayed in Prestonsburg to avoid the crowd. And right up the street from me, my cousin runs this gym. And lo and behold, there's a photo. I could probably post it on here. Kofi come in there to work out that day.
He didn't do chest. I know that much.
No,
That's
his
cold.
chest is non-existent, unfortunately.
That's cold as ice.
You know what?
brother.
What sucks about that whole Kofi Mania stuff? Like it's cool to see him like win the title and everything, but like I can't remember who said it. One of you guys said that it didn't really amount to anything.
No.
Like because if you remember how he lost the title, it was to Brock on SmackDown, and the match was like
Mhm.
10 seconds or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, and this was around the time too when Daniel Bryan was the heel and he had like the Nature Championship, or
Oh yeah, dude,
Whatever
I
it
forgot
was.
about
Yeah.
that.
The
it
hemp
was like the
championship.
secondary belt for sure.
Because the
Nobody
belt
gave a
was like
shit.
made out of hemp or something like that. Wasn't it?
Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. This is the drizzling shits too, though. Fuck this.
I mean,
Wait,
you're happy that Cody got that moment, but at the same time, you look at where his career went. It's like he just went right back to what he was doing before, and almost like that didn't exist. Now, isn't there something? I'm trying to think. Isn't there something kind of like that going on now? What are the events? Oh, the freaking Jey Uso. They could kind of almost do the same thing.
They also had Kurt Angle's retirement match against fucking Baron Corbin.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why it's drizzling
God.
shits for
Yeah.
sure.
Christ.
Yeah, it's
Horrible.
getting. There's no way.
Garrett, did you see that promo from Jey Uso on Raw though this past Monday?
I saw what they tried to do, but I don't think it worked.
I don't know, man. I kind of
You like it? Where he's like,
Yeah.
I was afraid of you. Like they go
Dude,
that
Yeah.
route.
I
I'm
tell you
not
what did
afraid
work.
anymore.
That Gunther shit did work though. The
Yeah.
Jimmy Uso stuff that he did, that was
Oh yeah,
amazing.
that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
with
that
the
was
blood and all
killer.
that stuff. I just, what do you think? Somebody at work's like, well, they promised he was getting the main event. There's no way that's main eventing any night.
No,
There's
well, they've
No,
already
no.
confirmed that the main event for night one is Punk and Rollins and Reigns.
and then Cena, Cody, right?
Yeah,
Has
for
to
the
be.
night two. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I
Well-
think does Jay win? Maybe, but I don't know. I just feel
I don't
like this
think he
wasn't a
should.
good build.
They did that. They did that this year with both Royal Rumble winners, the men's and the women's, because Charlotte and Tiffany, like they're getting on the back burner now too. Like, and there's some weird shit going on between them in that match
Yeah.
anyway.
That's so
Yeah.
great. Charlotte keeps shitting on her like
Yeah, but the
The
thing is,
promo.
that actually kind of annoys me because I'm like, they're going into business for themselves to try to be funny, but like the stuff they're saying, unless you're a diehard, you don't know what the hell they're talking about. Kaiser was in
I'm-
my DMs last night. Who
Dude,
knows that, dude?
nobody.
Like, what
But I'm
person
sick
knows
to
that?
fucking. I'm sick to death of Charlotte anyway. Like,
Oh, I agree, but I'm thinking to myself when they did that, I was like, that's funny to like fucking like a certain niche group of
Yeah,
people. Like,
well, they do that sometimes. So I mean, like
it's just weird.
like, yeah, you really have to like look at the dirt sheets and just all that to know that stuff. But I think they're aware of that. They're aware that there's a lot of fans out there that know fucking everything. So they have to kind of like throw some of that in there sometimes, I guess.
But I mean, even still, that line just still doesn't make sense because he really wasn't. So like, what was she really getting?
Well,
at
it's just
then?
petty bullshit between bitches.
It was my
you know.
DMs. Like that's how we talk.
petty bullshit between bitches.
Are they
But I
going
mean, I
to
also think
are
too,
they
the
going to
other
beat
chick-
Gunther though? Is Gunther going to?
No, I don't think they should.
I don't
don't
know
think
if
he
he
should
will
beat
or
him.
not, man. Really, I mean, I don't know where you would go with Gunther after
He's
he
the
loses.
best heel that they have right now.
Well, I think if they do take and have Jey Uso win that, then I think that they should move Gunther like in the draft or whatever and let him go after the main championship, the WWE championship. And if that's against Cena, if it's against Cody, whoever it is, I think, either one of those feuds for Gunther would be awesome.
All right, so continuing on, this
36,
is COVID Mania.
Yep. The Boneyard match, the Firefly Funhouse match. This is where there was no crowd the first year, during COVID.
It's the
and all
first
that.
2
I like
year or
that.
2 night Mania as well.
It's hard for me to not like anything that Bray Wyatt did because that dude had a fucking creative mind. I tell you, it really sucks, that we didn't get to see more of that.
I love that match
Yeah.
though, man. When I saw that match, I was like, this is great because it was like them making fun of Cena's whole gimmick and career and everything.
It was very smart for the situation they were put in with.
So fun,
COVID.
man.
I want to kind of go back and watch this because I remember at the time it was just so weird because this is like 2 or 3 weeks removed from when everything shut down.
Yeah,
it's
the main
crazy
events for
to
each
watch.
night were really cool. They were the theatric part of it, but a lot of the matches were thrown together, right? Wasn't that like the
They were
Austin
recorded
Theory,
like
brought up from like NXT
Well,
or something to like?
it
if
was
you remember,
recorded
like-
way ahead of time. It was not live either.
Nobody was doing like any kind of events or anything at that point, like live events or anything. Like so, yeah. Like WWE might have been one of the only companies that were putting out anything like that around that time.
Yeah, everybody was scared of getting sick too. They had weird precautions, I think. Everybody was held up in a hotel. I'm thinking, if my memory serves me correctly, they pretty much had to stay put in a quarantine for so long.
Yeah. One of the things that I remember most about that, because I think it took place in like the Performance Center there in Florida. I just remember just the first thing I would notice in every match is there was this huge ceiling fan that you could see in every camera shot of the matches.
This was a tough time though. I kind of commend them for going through with the show. Otherwise, this would have been the first year without any sort of WrestleMania event. And I think that this was the first, were they having basketball games or anything like that around this time?
I don't think so. I don't think they were doing anything.
No, I think they shut everything down in the NBA. I remember that for sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't this Edge's Mania return match with Orton?
It was, yeah, because I remember he had this big return at the Rumble and it surprised everybody. And then, everything went dark, right? There was no fans for a good year.
Yeah.
Solid.
Then they started doing the virtual thing or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Was this before that they even
Thunderdome.
started doing that?
Yeah,
I think this was before that, before the TV screens and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
This was at the Performance Center out in the Full Sail University or wherever the hell all that shit is.
What you think about that now, like that name that they chose for when they were doing like the TV screen, like the Thunderdome? That's kind of brilliant because if you think about in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, like there's so many people looking, inside that little dome that they built. So it's kind of like a very similar feel. I always thought that was a really good name.
Yeah, I like how eventually they would have it set up that way, but this didn't feel like WrestleMania to me, and I don't really fault them for that. They did the best they could. They went all out for it.
I'd kind of put it in average just because they tried, but it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was nothing spectacular.
It was depressing, really.
Yeah.
A lot of people shit on this concept, but this was the first time that they kind of introduced the whole like a movie type theatrical match with Undertaker and AJ Styles, and a lot of people don't like it, but I thought it was awesome, and I wanted to see more of that after that because I thought it was so well done.
I thought that was a good match. I thought that was great. I thought both those theatrical ones that they did were great. Honestly, in that.
So they did the show that they were planning on doing the year prior in Tampa Bay, using pretty much the exact same logo, which I thought was pretty funny. For WrestleMania 30, what was it, 37?
37, yeah.
Reigns versus Edge versus Bryan, KO versus Sami Zayn, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. I
Well,
don't remember any of this shit.
I tell you never can get a bad match when it's between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I mean, those guys always have a great match every single time, in my opinion. But honestly, before you even said that, I don't even remember that match happening on this one.
I do remember the Nigerian drum fight match with Apollo Crews and Big E.
Do you?
Yeah, that was my favorite of the night. The Nigerian drum fight match.
You didn't like the Bad Bunny match?
What's a Nigerian drum fight match? Just out
I
of
was
curiosity.
fucking making that up. I don't even remember.
No, I swear to
No,
God,
it's
that's what
it's
it
on
said.
it's on the second night.
That's so killer. I've got to know what
Oh.
that is.
I was.
I don't
was-
remember- I don't
were
remember that
there-
either.
were in
For the
the
IC
2
title.
nights.
With
Okay.
General Aziz with the big fucking guy. What
Oh
is his
yeah, I
name?
remember. Yeah,
Admiral
Almost.
something or General something.
I don't remember any of this.
it's so bad.
What the fuck? Nigerian drum fight.
I don't remember any of
Craig
I
it.
have-
was going to watch that
All right.
match tonight.
I've got
Put-
nothing on
Put that on. See how that's like.
Yeah. Bad Bunny was fine. Like, I didn't know who he was, to be honest
I
with
don't
you.
give a fuck about Bad Bunny. Everybody talks about that match being good. I was like, I didn't give a shit about him then or now, really.
give him
Cesaro
a
and
little-
Seth Rollins, I'm sure that was a good match.
I don't remember that much either.
Either.
It was
Yeah, I
just a singles match. It wasn't
But,
anything special.
I mean, I don't care for Bad Bunny either, but I thought, he up until that point, he was probably the most skilled celebrity that had been in a match. I mean, I wasn't I didn't hate it, but also just it's not nothing I would really go back and ever watch again.
Fuck Bad Bunny. That's what I say.
So, I mean, this was probably, what would you say? That doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. A lot of these.
There's
are
nothing
kinda-
huge that stands out.
Although I do remember this match between Rhea Ripley and Asuka. I think it was a really good match.
Although, the bloodline thing was starting here already, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
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 Because Jey Uso was kind of forced in being Roman's right-hand man at the time. And, yeah, it definitely was the beginnings of it.
I mean, the next one, 38, is a little bit better in my opinion, but still, some of these matches. So 38 is Reigns versus Lesnar, Cody Rhodes versus Rollins, KO versus Stone Cold. Y'all remember that
Mhm.
one?
Yeah,
He came
back.
that was fun.
Edge versus AJ, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn, which
Sami
was a
Zayn.
lot better
Oh,
match
God.
than it ever deserved to
Actually,
be.
really, I love that match, actually.
At this point, I don't even give a fuck. This whole era is really forgettable to me.
This is what, 38?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd did go crazy when Cody debuted.
Oh,
I do
yeah,
remember that.
that
That
was
was
legit.
insane. Because I was because he was a
Was it a
AEW
mystery
guy.
at that point, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't even announced, right? Yeah, that was big.
It was so cool, too, because, everything that he used in the indies and the AEW and everything, he brought all of that over with him. His music, everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was so I wasn't expecting that at all, but when it happened, it was that's probably one of the best moments on
Well,
that whole show.
The rumor is that Vince was a gigantic Dusty guy, early on. Evidently, the story is that Dusty was supposed to have the spot that Hogan got.
I mean,
That was the first choice. So
he deserved it, dude. I mean, I can't tell you anybody I've ever met that doesn't like Dusty Rhodes.
So that's what I'm thinking. It's just, it really doesn't make sense if you think about it. But Vince evidently loves Dusty and Dusty's family and all that, and that was his plan. And fuck, it's war. I mean, I can't deny that
Common
it's
man.
not working. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we talked about this. We must have did a review on this, and I remember us saying, I would have loved to be on the fly on the wall with that Cody Vince meeting where Vince is like, "Yeah, I'll bring you back from creating a company to try to put me under, and then totally bash the brand for X amount of years. We'll bring you back, and you can keep everything you want, and we're going to give you a main event push, and we're going to get the title on you." It just doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like a Vince thing.
No, you're right.
At all. What did Cody? He must be the best salesman to get him to just agree to all that.
Man, it just
Wild.
whatever led to that decision, I'm happy with it because I'm a big Cody fan.
I think Cody's good for the company. I think he's good
Yeah.
for kids. I think
I think
Cody
it's
is important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's working out great, especially, if Cena was to turn heel, like Cody was the perfect guy to use for that story. I'm loving it right now, to be honest with you. But
I think it also shows a lot of other people that like it doesn't matter if you get fired or whatever, like you can redeem yourself and you can become bigger. I mean, if Cody didn't leave and do what he did, he'd never be where he is now.
He reinvented himself, man, and that's something
Yeah.
that can rarely
He'd
be
still
done.
probably be
with
fucking
anybody.
Stardust. Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm a huge fan of like Cardona, and I would love to see him
Same.
come back and do something. He's never going to be at that level of Cody, but I mean, he could
You
come
know-
back and be a bigger star than Zack Ryder for sure.
He could. He really
Right.
could.
Chelsea, isn't
I
Chelsea
know-
Green his?
Yeah.
It
Woman
is.
over-
And
like,
Chelsea
I
Green
kinda
is.
feel like-
They love Chelsea Green, dude. So-
Yeah,
She's great.
well,
She's probably
She's
one of
my
the best
favorite
female workers.
woman
yeah.
in the company right now. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, the WWE love her. So I think that you're gonna see Cardona back. What he does, I don't know, but I know he's gonna probably utilize that new gimmick and not go back to what he was. And it would be cool just to kind of see him come in one last time because I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah.
right.
What
So
we doing?
WrestleMania 30, what is it, 8?
I don't fucking know.
38.
38. Yeah.
I mean,
put it in
there's some decent
C-Man.
stuff on it.
There's a lot of bad stuff too, though. Vince versus
Yeah.
Pat McAfee.
Oh
Like,
fuck! I forgot about that. Where is that the one he
Yeah.
tries to take the stunner?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Oh,
McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. I mean, there's a lot of
Oh.
crappy matches on here
God.
too.
I think a few things save it though. Like I would put it in the middle, like the Z-Man territory, but like
Yeah, the KO Austin match was
yeah,
really
that's
fun.
that's the thing that popped me the most was Stone Cold actually being in a match again, which is especially because I was
When
just
the
a kid with
funny
Attitude
thing
Era.
is like they didn't really explain what that was going to be either. Like, was it going to be really a match, or what in the hell are they doing? They haven't.
Well, that's just what a lot of speculation because it was just advertised as like KO's like talk show thing,
Right.
To be interviewing Stone Cold. But like, I think a lot of people's like, why are they because they were putting it on as like the last thing on night one, and they're like, why are they having like a talk show to end the show? So I think a lot of people was speculating that Austin was going to do something, but they did. I don't think anybody expected it to be like a full on match.
We're down to the nitty gritty, boys. We've got 2 more left.
so here's the interesting thing about this one though. 39 is actually pretty damn good, to me.
Yeah.
Anyway. So 39 is KO and Zayn versus the Usos, Ripley versus Charlotte, the Mysterios fight, like Rey Mysterio and Dominic, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul, and Roman Reigns versus Cody. I mean, it's a pretty solid fucking WrestleMania.
Was this the one where? Remember the one where Dominic came out in like the paddy wagon, and he had the cups? Was that this one?
Yeah,
I
Or
think
another
so.
one.
Yeah, I think
I-
it was this one.
I popped so hard for that, dude. When he
This is
came
the
out
one
with
too where
the shackles and stuff.
Shane McMahon comes back and instantly fucks his knee up. Or
Yep.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Man, I
Snoop
was-
had to like help him out, kind of. Snoop. had
Well,
to-
he took over. Like I was wondering about that earlier because I was hoping you guys would bring that up. Is that like so? Shane unexpectedly got hurt, and then Snoop Dogg just kind of like takes initiative and takes over and finishes what. So do you think that there was a plan if something happened with Shane
No.
out there?
I think there
No,
might have
I think he just was.
maybe somebody in a mic talked
Nobody
to like,
would have ever
get-
thought something
tell
like that
Snoop
would
to go
have
do
happened.
something
Well,
or whatever, like,
Yeah.
and then they relayed him the message. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. I mean, unless Snoop is that clever and knows enough to be like, oh, this is really, so let me try to just do something here.
But do you know what I mean? Though, like it could be like any match. It doesn't have to be that one in particular. But like, you just have like a backup plan in case one of the guys gets hurt or something. Do you think that
Could
they
be.
ever went with that route? Like, hey, like if Shane gets hurt out here, Snoop Dogg, you're stepping in.
I just don't. I don't feel that conversation happening, Craig. I have a hard
I
time.
think it might be
like-
one of those things where they must get in the ear of somebody on the outside. Saying,
Probably
"Oh,
the
Snoop,
ref or
Like,
something.
man, do something.
Yeah,
Right.
Snoop, you're gonna have to call it in the ring, brother. Okay.
Snoop, I mean, he did
That's a
say
good
it.
job.
He did a
Yeah.
great job. Yeah.
I
Where do
think
we
this
put-
was pretty good. I would put it
I
in
do
good.
too. I think
remember
this is the
one being
beginning of
fun.
like starting to redeem themselves. Really,
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember last year's, I think last year's was pretty decent, right? That's when like Drew
Yeah.
and Punk and all that stuff, right? That story was being unfolded.
This
That
was the first one where Vince had nothing at all to do with it either. I
Yeah,
think.
he had a lot less power at this point. Yeah.
well, just the build up for the Cody Roman 2 match was great. You know, when they brought Rock into all of it and just
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I mean,
This was the
that's
tag
you're
match
right.
night one, right?
What's that?
Was it night one the tag match?
Night one was the
With
let's see,
Rock?
wait a minute. Yeah, Rock and Roman versus
I thought I
Cody
thought
and
this was
Seth.
a good one. Was this what is this 39 or 40?
40.
This is 40.
This is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought this was a good Mania.
I thought it was great. I mean, as opposed to some of the
Yeah, I
last-
remember everybody like was ranting and raving about when it actually happened, and here's something that leads us to 41 though. I mean, I would put this one in good as well, probably.
I
with
think I
me.
would too. I don't know.
But
if I would.
like the bloodline, if you guys notice, is not really a focus. Is something
No.
going to happen at this year's Mania where it instantly comes back in? I think it is because it's almost like they're not talking about it at all. Like, so I don't know what is going to happen where it becomes a big thing again. The bloodline.
I mean, I think that in the end of the day, I mean, I know where things are now, but Rock has to be. I'm like thinking to myself, is this a long-term storytelling or did they just miss the boat? Like all these other bloodline guys, the new crew, that had to have been brought on by Rock, right? Like he had to have been the one that built that and brought all those new guys in, right?
Yeah, they
Like,
haven't
if just
talked
didn't
about that
appear-
much.
Part of it, I think, but I just I don't
that's what I
know.
always thought the end game was that they were going to be like, you know, he was the one we were listening to the whole time as like,
Well,
and then Roman be like, what, da da da, and but it's just almost like they're forgetting about those other guys now.
you never know though, man. Like nothing has really came out completely about all that because it's just kind of the whole aspect of card subject to change, you know, because when or in this case, you know, The Rock's got a new movie to film. So whatever, man. I mean, it's just like I think that might have been the case at one point, but just you know, I guess they just had to come up with something else to kind of to make do or whatever.
It does end with Roman versus Rock, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking their goal is going to be. But I mean, Rock's
It
not
has
getting
to.
any younger either.
If it doesn't happen next year in New Orleans, then they just need to just fucking give it up because I think people are at this point tired of waiting for that match to happen.
I didn't even know this. They had a fucking name for their team. The Pride, Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford. Do you remember them being called the Pride? I don't.
That's when they were Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that's when they were trying to turn the Street Profits heel, and they
It
put
didn't
them,
work though.
They put him with Bobby Lashley. Yeah, and just
I
nobody.
fucking
liked
hate the
it.
Street Profits, man. God, I don't know. They're instant. Like, okay, let's.
That
fast
one
forward
guy's a
this shit.
talented bastard, though. I'll tell you that much.
Montez Ford, yeah.
Marcus Ford is awesome. Yeah, he can get some height off the top rope, man.
And do you kind of feel? I know we're talking about the new Mania, but do you kind of feel bad for Io Sky? I feel like she's like I don't even want her in the match. Really, I'm kind of like I'm not even interested in her being in this.
I think
Man,
she's
like-
the best worker they have, the best female worker that they
I
have.
feel like she just
She's
doesn't
good.
have anything to connect to besides being a good worker.
She can barely speak English is the problem.
Yeah.
Like
But
that's
she
like,
has no like charisma when she does charismatic things. I feel like it feels so forced. Like I don't know. Like I'm looking at Rhea and Bianca, and I'm like, I want this match. And
Well,
that's
what's
all I want.
crazy about Io is she's got more experience than anybody else that's there.
Oh yeah,
It's
she's
true.
great.
She's
I
been
don't think
around a
Bianca
while.
can. I don't think Bianca can cut a promo worth of shit either. By the way, like if you watch her, especially for the last like couple of months now, she can't.
She talks like somebody talking trash in like a beauty shop or something.
Yeah, it's just like she talks like she's memorized something and she's just kind of like regurgitating it. Like that's what it feels like to me.
Well, the thing that I hate about this situation is that Io is the champion, and it's almost like she's almost being swept under the rug here. Like when they're having these kind of face-offs in the ring, both Rhea and Bianca are like shoving her away.
Don't you think that's part of it though? Like, isn't that supposed to be the story? It's weird that like she's the champ, but she feels like the underdog in the situation.
Yeah, I mean that's the story, but doesn't mean it's a great story.
Right?
I mean,
yeah.
at the end of the day, like Rhea has to win that belt back, right? Or do they look at that and says Rhea doesn't need the belt, so we're gonna get EO to keep it? Like
I would.
you know,
I
like,
swear to God, I'd go with EO.
I
at
don't
this
think
point.
Rhea needs a belt. No,
No, she doesn't.
Let me tell you
She's
something. If
so over.
Charlotte wins the belt, that place is going to
Yeah,
They're gonna riot.
that'll be great. They'll boo the shit out of her.
Oh
They
my
already are
God,
anyway. I don't think
bad.
they care though. I think that Charlotte will win that. Like
She's got
that's-
Jericho heat at this point. I think.
Yeah.
it's sad.
Charlotte.
I love Stratton. I think
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
she's great,
great,
except
yeah.
for this particular feud. And she's still been kind of great for this.
But yeah, that triple threat, the women's match, I have no idea. Like I have no idea how that's going to go. Who's going to win that? Because I mean, if Rhea wins again, yeah, she's the champion again. That's great, I guess. But Bianca, I mean, they're kind of slowly turning her heel. So if I was to choose, she would probably be the one I would choose to win this. Like she could just go full heel in the match.
Who, Bianca?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would help her evolution or her next step in her character for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way they should go with that.
So
'Cause
yeah,
you
do you
kind of
want to?
feel like it's going to end up being her and the other one at some point. Like they're going to do something.
Yeah, well, they're going to do Bianca and Rhea one-on-one at some point. Yeah.
Well, what's her
Oh,
name?
yeah,
Her
for
old
sure.
partner there, I think, is the end goal for this whole thing.
Oh, between Bianca and Jade?
Yeah, like a part of me feels like Bianca's going to come out and be like, I told her to do it or something,
Maybe, but and that's another thing. Because Jade and Naomi are having this one-on-one match, and that doesn't need to be on the Mania card.
No.
No,
I'm afraid every time Jade gets in there as like a one-on-one, I get very nervous.
the build
Now,
to
I don't
this
think
one.
Naomi's good at all. I don't know what the hell they're.
I think the overall build to this one is just odd. Like it doesn't feel like it's like this is the latest WrestleMania has ever been. It feels like that they're still like a month away, maybe or something. The build is not the best.
It definitely does feel like they're throwing a lot of these matches together quick because they just added Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, who was definitely not Chad Gable. That's definitely.
I'm looking
not-
forward to that match. I think it'll be really good though.
I like that when Hogan did it back in the day. You remember that when he
Mr.
was
America.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. But yeah, man, I mean, I knew this was probably going to be over 2 hours, but nearly close to 3 hours for this show. But
We knew
we
it was
did
coming.
get done. So there's
Yeah,
only
we did.
4 cream of the crops in the history of Mania, and the first
Pretty
what
good
is
list.
it? 3 of them from the
3?
first 10 years. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. I mean,
lot
I'm
of Bruce
hoping
Wayne shit.
we can get back together for what, Mania night?
yeah, I think we should definitely do like a post show for the Mania show. That's the biggest show of the year.
For each night, Saturday and Sunday, or just like one, like after
We
night
did them
two?
both last year, I think.
Did we? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, we did.
Yep.
One for each night.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. And we appreciate everybody in the chat as well. Had over 100 people in here pretty much throughout the whole night. And we know that not everybody is into the wrestling stuff. So. But yeah, it is very cool that you guys stuck with us and everything. And one other thing that I wanted to promote on here. See if I can. No,
Where'd
we
Marky
kicked-
Mark go?
Mark
we kicked
go?
Mark out. Let's see.
Hey, that's not
Mark,
nice.
you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, I don't know what I did there.
Yeah.
I did want to mention because coming up on Saturday, they're having a little mini wrestling convention and show in Prestonsburg, right up the road here.
You
And
going?
I think me and Uncle Bill and Crater and
Ooh.
a few more people hopefully are going to be all showing up. And I had the poster pulled up here and I wanted to promote it for these guys.
Hell yeah.
The Heroes and Legends Wrestling Show. Tommy Wildfire Rich, baby. He's
Don't
coming
go
in
in
from
the, don't
Myrtle
go in the
Beach.
car with him outside. Don't be going in that car with him.
Come on, sit in my lap, baby. Former NWA champions
Ronnie
World
Garvin.
champions Tommy Wildfire Rich and Rugged Ronnie, the Hands of Stone Garvin. Right? The Powers of Pain, the Warlord and the Barbarian, and the Homicidal, Suicidal, Genocidal Maniac, baby, Thabu. And they're doing like a meet and greet mini convention thing that's right up the road here in Prestonsburg for me. So it's pretty cool. And this could possibly be a yearly thing, they're saying. So if it goes
I
over
hope
well.
so. Yeah, I hope so. I think that that's definitely something that we need to get going again in this area, because like wrestling has been huge, I think, forever in this area. But it's just like as far as like these little companies and stuff like that that are kind of putting on shows like that and bringing older guys in for these meet and greets. I would definitely love to have more of that around here.
Somebody say get something, get fired up in Prestonsburg High School. Baby.
Get that combo, baby. Get that photo.
Get your photo and autograph.
If we can get ringside seats, though, we need to get ringside. It's like it's
Yeah.
$20.
Yeah, it's
What
$5
the
more than sitting on the bleachers. So I mean, it's just
Yeah.
You gonna heckle them again? You gonna go back
I'm
to the
going
old
to sit
school?
on the
Oh.
bleachers.
I
I'm a
feel like
cheap
I probably
ass.
should not heckle
on.
several of these people.
That'll be
Fucking heckle
Granny's
Sabu
job.
and get killed.
That'll
Oh,
be
they're
Granny's.
They're fun as hell, man. I went to one here in Hazard not long ago that Godfather was at, and man, that place was packed to the gills, and just that whole crowd was wild. If you can imagine, it's Hazard.
That's the most fun part around here is just watching the crowd too.
Oh,
But,
yeah, I love it.
You know, Wildfire Championship Wrestling. Tommy Rich is around here quite a bit, actually. So yeah, this is one of their biggest shows. So yeah, check it out. There's a QR code there if anybody wants to purchase tickets, or just because it is for flood relief victims here in Eastern Kentucky too. So that's pretty cool as well. So
That
yeah,
money ain't getting to no flood relief victim. That money going in them pockets, them people.
Look,
Ronnie Garvin's
buddy.
pockets. Yeah.
That's sending them to Applebee's after the show.
Y'all want some Bourbon Street chicken at Applebee's? Come on, baby. But guys, we appreciate everybody tuning in and everything. Garrett, what you got coming up on the channel?
I just did an interview with the writers and directors for a brand new movie that just came out called Freaky Tales. And I'm going to say it right now on record. I think it was fantastic, and I recommend everybody going to check that movie out. If you want to check out the interview with the directors, you can come over to my channel at Born to Be Rad and do it. I'm dropping a video tomorrow on a DVD Holy Grail that I finally acquired into my collection. It's been many, many, many years of me trying to get this finally here. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And on the Rad Pack podcast, we are dropping an interview tomorrow with the director of a brand new summer camp slasher that comes out tomorrow in theaters called Marshmallow. So if you want to go check out our interview with that director and find out what this is about, definitely check that on the Rad
It's
Pack.
about the evil Marshmallow Man. He's coming and he's
It's,
going to get you.
It's a cool movie for sure.
Here's the Marshmallow Man, and he's coming to get you. Creator Mania. What do you got coming up on your channel? You got a new channel.
Well, yeah, it's newer. I mean, I've been doing it like 4 months now, and just still working on my 500 movies in 2025 series. I'm up to 161 now. So this week I just did last night, because I knew I was doing this show tonight. So I did my part 1 last night of Sword and Sorcery, where I watched the Conan movies, Deathstalker, Beastmaster, and The Sword and the Sorcerer. And then part 2 will be this Sunday, where I'm going to be covering 5 more movies of Sword and Sorcery, like Willow and Masters of the Universe, and some other couple things. It's going to be fun.
Stunt Man, you got anything coming up other than just, working until midnight?
I was just gonna say that, like, I never really have time to do as many videos as I'd like to do. I mean, we do the Friday Night Lives thing, which I love doing that. But
Yeah, it's coming up early or later tonight, actually, because it's fucking 1 o'clock here.
Oh shit, yeah, it's after midnight here too.
You guys are just bullshitting. And then a week from yesterday now, on the 17th, we're doing Scream Factory Year 8. And this is the most annoying fucking list that I've ever put together. I'm still working on it. Because now the re-releases are
coming in hot,
Hot
and
and
heavy.
heavy, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track of. But yeah, that'd be a multi-stream with the Born to Be Rad, and we're gonna have Christian Hannah on there, CHH. So that'll be a fun show, and lots of other stuff coming up. Dead Pit is watching. We'll have one of those, and but yeah, I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good
Me
night,
too.
and I gotta go to work tomorrow. Still, it's been the longest week ever. But we will catch you guys next time. BornToBeRad.com, Crater Mania, Stuntman Mark, DEADPIT.
.com.
I want all these people to click everything they're supposed to click.
You haven't been liking them, you haven't been subscribing to them, you haven't clicked the bell or notification or anything like that.
Folks, why don't you click the like button?
Do you hate us? Do you not want to see us succeed?
Why don't you click the heart button?
Is this something that you have against our particular show?
Why don't you subscribe?
You should click on one of them buttons right now if you want us to continue to breathe greatness into your life.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last Out on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Special thanks goes out to our supporters on Patreon. You know what kind of stuff you can get on Patreon, Uncle Bill, starting at only $1 a month?
What's that?
Access to every Dead Pit show since 2005. We got almost 200 fan commentaries that we've done over the decades.
Here's what other fucking Patreons do. They're like, hey, give us money and then we'll let you see a video early that we're going to release like a fucking week from now, and then that's all we're going to give you. Meanwhile, we have a literal jukebox full of songs, thousands of reviews. I don't even know how many shows are up on there now that we've done over the years.
Hundreds of thousands.
You need to figure this out now and subscribe to us on Patreon and YouTube and Instagram and help us to 1 million. The road to 1 million subscribers starts today.
So Dead Pit on Patreon.com. Join today. Tiers start at only $1, but I'd recommend at least the $10 tier.
You can do 50. The stock market